Well, hello and welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and welcome to episode number 103 of the Jesus Enrique Rosas Show. We have a great show today with a lot of stuff that requires our immediate attention, including but not limited to the fact that Greenland is up for grabs and Trump is not afraid of taking it. That's going to be the main topic of today. And also that Don Lemon is in trouble because it seems that there is one way he can actually end up in jail for that stunt in Minneapolis. That would be fun. We haven't spoken about Michelle Obama in a while. We're going to mention her today with a very interesting remark she made about black-owned businesses, which you're going to see that how it fits the narrative of the Democrats. And this was a bombshell that you don't want to miss. I mean, one guy saying that his family is some kind of despots or, I don't know, want to control him or whatever. And it is not Prince Harry. It's a Brooklyn Beckham. We will be talking about this at large. And last but not least, to round up our topics, one of the most unhinged body cam footage that I have seen in ages. I mean, another lady ramming a police officer. I think that's an ICE or police officer. I don't know. And where there was a shooting. We're going to be taking a look at this and more as usual. And remember that the best way to support my channel, any channel, my work making this live stream is to like and subscribe no matter where you're watching from. Today, we are live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Rumble, on X, and on Substack. So this is five, and on Twitch as well, 6 platforms. Four platforms short of the record that I want to break. Be live to 10 platforms at once. But whether you're on YouTube or Twitch or Facebook or Substack or X or Rumble, make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell. You know what is the process. In any one of those platforms, I will be, if everything goes well, I will be doing vertical live streams simultaneously of these shows. What is the mechanic of this show? It's usually we have a live stream on the Body Language Guy channel on YouTube, which is the headquarters, and every single one of the topics is going to go in my other channels as a standalone video. So you can watch the whole live stream if you want, or you can watch the independent videos, not only here on the Body Language Guy channel, but in my other YouTube channels as well. So yeah, that is what we're going to do. Let's begin already. We have a lot to do. There's so many beautiful people. By the way, you were asking if this was the Beautiful People by Marilyn Manson and my jazz intro. By the way, in my Body Language Guy channel, you can look for the whole song of my intro of my show. Some of you really like that song. Go for Body Language Guy channel, and you can actually look for the whole song. It's a standalone video on my channel. So we need to talk about geopolitics and the powers that are trying to rule the world. And it turns out that the UK has green-lighted a super embassy for China, a Chinese super embassy. And up to this like 2 hours ago, I had no idea what a super embassy was. But you know how visual I am. I imagine stuff. I try to, a Chinese super embassy in the heart of London. This must look like, this absolutely must have brutalist architecture. You know, huge photos of Xi Jinping are mandatory. And you know that, that is what a super embassy. It turns out that super embassy is nothing like a bigger embassy than usual. It's not like you have maybe one floor in a commercial building. It could happen sometimes. I remember the embassies in Caracas. The embassy of the United States in Caracas is really big, by the way. I guess that is a super embassy. But in this case, no, it's you're gonna have an actual solid big building, and so you will have Chinese domination in the heart of London. How about it? Now, I got some requests and observation that this really doesn't look like an actual Chinese super embassy. So I listened to your your observations, and I made the adjustments that were required for this. So there were some adjustments that had to be made, and I think this is the best representation of what a super Chinese embassy in the heart of London would be. It needed more Winnie Pooh, more antennas, more surveillance, maybe more drones as well, but we don't know. Maybe those drones just go out at night. But you know how it's going to be. That is the new world order, and it seems that the UK, Keir Starmer, is okay with that. So, yeah, that's what we got. In other, in other matters, we got the World Economic Forum, like happening right now, and I couldn't help but notice. You remember that yesterday we spoke about Emmanuel Macron with those sunglasses because he's got some kind of red eye or something, and I'm going to do a suggestion. He should be wearing them all the time. He looks badass, not gonna lie. But besides the sunglasses, he should be chain smoking cigarettes, all right? Like a proper European, and cursing on French every couple sentences. That would revert all the mockery that he has endured all these years just for being married to Brigitte. That would be cool. That would be a cool president. If he wants to be a really cool president, he should go for it. I don't know what he was talking about. Maybe the usual French government nonsense, but the sunglasses, those really hit. Those really hit. So at the same time, the Council of Human Rights of the UN, which is basically as useless as a man's nipple, was going to do a session, an urgent session for the massacre of women in Iran, but it was canceled because of the following countries. Mexico, not surprising because, well, Mexico, right? Since they went full woke, this is what they stand for, the wrong kind of feminism. Iraq, Burundi, Cuba, not surprising as well. Qatar, does anyone blinking? Bat an eye with this one. Pakistan, China, Brazil, Egypt, and Kuwait. So then pretty much the usual suspect. This was not unexpected. But going back to the World Economic Forum, there's some questions like Data Republican asking, the World Economic Forum has almost entirely dropped its the bugs. It's the bugs. Climate change rhetoric in favor of putting AI in everything. You know that is what is trendy right now. AI everywhere. Still trying to figure out why. I think I know the answer. First, in the first hand, there's this, of course, this huge trend of pouring absurd amounts of money on AI because it's the next big thing. That is going to blow on many people's faces real soon, especially in the consumer part of the business, maybe not in the industrial part of the business, because there's a lot of things that can be done with AI. But the hype is real. This way that is overhyped. I would say that is 80% overhyped. So the market is going to correct itself at some point, but right before that, right before the market, the AI market gets corrected, people are going to pour money on that. You're going to say, we need to invest on this. We need to allocate massive amounts of money in this. It's urgent. We need to win the AI race, which at the same time, it's the energy race. And that's why you see so many countries all of a sudden, they are in love with nuclear power. So we might get something good about this. But the bad thing, because this is the bad thing about AI, is that it can actually be weaponized against the people, as in more and more people are depending on AI for any sort of opinion. Hey, where should I go on vacation? How should I cook this chicken or whatever? You just go and ask the AI. But now we have two things that are happening. The first one is, well, we already know that AI can be dangerous with people who have, these tendencies of mental illnesses, or maybe they are not mentally healthy in the first place, and you can have this psychosis, AI-induced psychosis. That is actually a thing, and it's actually people that have died and have murdered because of an AI just creates this insane loop, this insanity loop that makes them just go over the edge. That is horrific. But at the same time, we know that the answers of these AIs, if they are not verified, they can, all of them, every single AI can make mistakes. Grok, Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, all of them. I have tested all of them, in Perplexity as well. I don't use Perplexity that much anymore. But all of them can make mistakes, and absurd mistakes. So since most people simply don't verify besides a headline or anything, I think that is an actual problem, because whatever an AI says, then most people are going to take it at face value, saying that, oh, the technology, the AI gods are telling me that, yeah, I can actually cook a chicken with these settings on my oven, and well, goodbye chicken. You will have to eat something else. I don't know, take out or something like that. That's what is happening right now, and that is what is the huge push for AI. So remember that you can also support my channel with my book in the link in the description, and we are ready to begin. I'm going to talk about my book a bit more in a minute. We are ready with the first topic. Before we talk about Greenland, we need to talk about still Minneapolis, because Minnesota has not exited the news. That is not going to exit the news anytime soon. It is insane what is happening in this city and state of the United States in terms of deportations. It's like they are painting this, that this is a humanitarian crisis for some reason. I don't understand how so many people, the brainwashing is real, because these are just law enforcement officers from ICE deporting people. And this is at Minneapolis Airport. Immediately watches on a shackled ICE deportees board an aircraft. It's one of the most dystopian, the most chilling things I think I ever witnessed. Oh, you need to cry right now. This is the lady who interviewed ex-Prince Andrew. So there's that. Let's see what she has to do about this crisis.
One of the most dystopian, the most chilling things I think I've ever witnessed.
So right now we're on our way to Terminal 1 at MSP, where these deportation flights load. And what will...
And this has, this music that I have to remove because of just make sure that copyright issues, to make it like they're in this operation trying to go against the dystopian government and stuff. Whatever Trump is doing is bad. Orange man bad.
We'll see will be an airplane that'll come in, a convoy with some, a couple of buses and a few vans will pull in alongside the airplane, and we'll see several dozen shackled deportees hobbling up the stairs and onto the airplane as they leave.
The plane that's just landed behind us doesn't have a name or a number. It's a dark plane. It doesn't officially exist.
Okay, she actually believes that she is in a Tom Clancy novel or something like that. I don't know. She's a plain a character in a Jack Reacher novel or something like that. She wishes. I mean, I wish I was in a Jack Reacher novel. That is something that it's. I can understand the sentiment, but this is real life, and this is just regular law being enforced. So I don't understand what is the hoopla about this.
and it's about to take deportees down to El Paso in Texas.
So I believe what happens is the people are already shackled when they arrive. And then what happens is the shackles get sent back up in the cargo hold of the airplane, and they'll get loaded on the van for the next round of people, is what I believe is happening.
Oh, and he's using this telephoto lens to be able to scout whatever is happening from really far away, because they are in this effort looking. I don't know. The thing that they are Sir David Attenborough says picking up birds or something like that, or I don't know. This is so baffling. I thought that this could be a great parody video. If people didn't know who was this lady, maybe they would think that this was some sort of parody, because you cannot get I don't know, get more serious about this, as in you're just watching a completely normal process of law enforcement. What is the big deal about that? What is the big deal about the shackles? How do you know that people who have committed a crime, and you might think that they could flee at any point and they will try to escape at any point, are gonna be taking measures against that. I mean, that makes everyone safer, because at the same time, these guys from ICE having guns. So you don't want these illegals with their hands free and not handcuffed, because something bad can happen. Many bad things can happen. So
the first deportee has just boarded the flight.
Wow, it was amazing.
41, 42.
Oh, that is
43.
Such a tragedy.
So we had 43 deportees get on the plane, and we had 2 come off.
My God, brother, you got 43 burgers this morning, or that's the actual count?
92. Write that down so I can remember that.
So Nick has counted some 40 or so detainees.
40? So the problem is that we don't have the dramatic music in the background to say that how this operation, to be able to see how this dystopian government, because for some reason I think that they fear for their lives, they fear for their own safety, but maybe they are filming something that is undercover on a dark plane. On what? This is baffling. This is baffling.
Deportees getting on that plane, and I have to say it's one of the most dystopian, the most chilling things I think I've ever witnessed. Now, we don't know who those people are.
Again, an example that looks like a construction worker. They're wearing their high-vis, their bright green hoodie.
It is possible that amongst them there are criminals, there are people who shouldn't be here, there are people who were told by Trump when he was elected that they would be removed. But to see the numbers, to see the operation, and to see normal life going on around it with commercial flights, Delta, American Airways, just landing oblivious to what's actually going on here, is something I don't think I'll ever forget.
You know what it's called? That is called civilization. The things that you see around you, the order that you can appreciate around you, in which there's a law enforcement process going on, and you have commercial airplanes that are oblivious to what is happening. That is civilization. That's how law works. I don't know what is so surprising about that. I can understand that, the woke libtards are always up in arms when the right thing is done, especially when it comes to the law, when it comes to, deporting illegals, when setting the record straight with criminals and everything. No, this is so horrendous. I don't know what is their, their concept of the world. Again, that the world is something that everybody should be treated with white gloves or something, that no matter what. But there must be construction workers in there. There could be construction. There's this one guy. Okay, there's this yellow blob that could be even another ICE officer, could be somebody who works for the airline who is going to deport them. And no, that must be a construction worker who is still wearing his this jacket or whatever it's called. Yeah, it must be that. We are getting to that conclusion for a yellow blob. Yeah, this is actually happening. There are people actually reporting this way. I'm gonna tell you, this was not going on today's show. I just saw that on my timeline on X, and I said I have to open my show today with this, because this is the level of insanity that we have arrived to. A regular, normal, something that should be happening, and it's even peaceful. There's no struggle, there's no shooting, there's nothing of the sort. They're just boarding a plane, and they have to paint that with the music and the Tom Clancy background and all that stuff. So yes, I would really love to know what do you think about this in the comments, and I'm keeping an eye on your live comments as well. So yes, I'm just gonna highlight your chat for a second while I make sure to switch to the next topic. This should be around here. Where's the next topic? The next topic should be Greenland, and we need to talk about Greenland. Mass craziness, says Cadin 828. Remember that you can also send super chats, and you will be supporting my channel as well if you're on YouTube, of course. And I think there's the other options in misplaced empathy. I like that. I like that because we need to be empathetic of people, but that is a bit misplaced. There's so much stuff that we could do with homeless people, with veterans, with the elderly, with the children. But these people opt for illegals. I don't know. You remember, I need to talk about that graphic that always pops up every now and then. I need to remind you that my voice has not been in the best shape. Yesterday's live stream was great, 2 hours and a bit more. I don't know if my voice can stand the test of 2 hours today, but at least today we were starting at the right time. This is going to be the time that we go live every day at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Let me see. I see a comment in here. Did you see my note to you in the comments yesterday about chlorine dioxide? I did not see that, Guacamole Kid. But you can send me an email. You also have my email. I love when you write, when you reach out to me with your emails, and maybe you can make your point clearer, and we can move forward with our next topic, with main topic of today. So you might be aware that Greenland has been a hot topic everywhere, especially because Trump has both of his eyes on it. And we need to start with a meme because this is a serious matter that is going on. Serious matter that is going on with this region. But at the same time, how to say this? It is ripe for memes. And President Trump posts himself showing a map of Canada and Greenland being part of the United States to the European leaders of the Oval Office. Of course, this is AI. This is not real, but you can see. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to zoom in, and you're going to notice that it's not only, of course, the United States that has the flag, not only Canada that has a flag, not only Greenland that has a flag, but there's a fourth country that has the flag. Can you see what it is? I think that we are playing Blue's Clues all the time in this show. Can you see the fourth country? Yes, it's Venezuela. He included in the meme. Venezuela also has the United States flag. And again, this is something that I dreamed about in the early 90s. Many Venezuelans are gonna call me crazy, but yeah, I dreamed about in the early 90s with the United States. It's something that I was a big fan of the United States back then. Yeah, make Venezuela great again. Make that a 51st, 52nd state. Let's go for it. Oh my God, I'm gonna get crazy calls with these words that I'm saying. But it's a meme. It's a meme, and this is not the only meme that we have. We have other ones. You remember that meeting, that actual meeting with the EU leaders. This is the moment Trump realized he can just take Greenland. I can just take it. Because this is just a bunch of beta dudes, and maybe the only one who has the cojones is not a dude, is Giorgia Meloni. I'm going to talk about Georgia in a minute. But yeah, this is something that is actually happening. And this is the meme that I showed you at the start of the show. Epic. President Trump posted himself planting the USA flag in Greenland with J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio. Cue the meltdowns. And meltdowns, well, I'm going to say that the meltdowns did not disappoint. We have a big one here. I'm going to show you the member of parliament, the Danish member of parliament, Anders Vistisen to Trump. Let me put this in words you might understand. Mr. President, F off. And I had to just double check that he actually said that.
Let me put this in words you might understand. Mr. President, fuck off. Det var næsten sådan ordene lød, da jeg for et år siden stod på den selv samme talerstol og sagde meget klart, at hvis Trump...
I'm sorry, colleague, this is against our rules. As much as you might feel or the...
He got called out for that. At least he went for it. I mean, that's the spirit. If you want to say something, just go ahead and say it. I think that's something that should be done. That is the right approach. And Giorgia Meloni, that I mentioned her earlier, she said that President Trump was open to dialogue on Greenland, but Europe sent mixed signals that looked anti-American. She wants to remind everyone that the U.S. is not a threat or an enemy. She is the European voice of reason. Giorgia Meloni is the European voice of reason. And I think that she also wants to remind everyone that, well, let's say that America has a lot of weight in geopolitics worldwide. So I think that she is trying to everybody to chill out and put things in context.
Mi pare che diciamo, il rischio sia quello che le iniziative di alcuni paesi europei fossero lette in chiave, posso dire, anti-americana, e invece non era quella l'intenzione che si aveva. Chiaramente gli attori che preoccupano sono per tutti altri, no? Però questo messaggio mi è sembrato che non fosse affatto chiaro.
She wants to do this, she wants to be like the one who equalizes the equation, because you know that to Greenland was sent these forces. I think that I have a graphic here with the forces, the sheer amount of forces that were sent to Greenland to defend Greenland from any invasion, including but not limited to, I think that this is all that they had. France, 15 dudes. Germany, 13 dudes. Sweden, 3 dudes. Norway, 2 dudes. Finland, 2 of them, a lone British chap and a lone Netherlander. So that is baffling. That is I don't know what they are doing. I'm guessing that they are all picking on the Briton, and again, there are good signals out there that people are trying to make sense of this. But at least it seems that China and Russia are not, at least Russia. I would say Russia, because I need to talk about China. We were joking about that super embassy, but we need to talk about China in terms of rare earth minerals in Greenland. But as far as Russia is concerned, Lavrov already said that Russia has zero interest in interfering with Trump's efforts to take Greenland for the United States, and that Russia is just going to mind its own business. I think that is really interesting, because you would remember that Greenland is basically what it's between. I'm gonna try to picture this here. You have the United States. So we're gonna see the world right now, literally. We have the United States. We have Canada, which I already made a video that Mark Carney is getting in bed with Xi Jinping. It's opening the doors of Canada to China, which is an actual threat in the region. It shouldn't be happening. And Mark Carney, I think that he wants to get back at Trump doing that. I mean, how stupid can that be? But you can't fix the stupid. You can't fix the stupid. And instead of trying to create this block against this threat, oh no, orange man bad, let's do something against that. So we have Greenland that I think that is way smaller than this, in fact. But this is how we're going to represent. You notice that immediately you have Scandinavia and Russia. This is the area that is, let's say, up for grabs for control. And if Russia doesn't have a problem with that, if Lavrov already said that Russia doesn't have a problem with this, because you know that Russia is already in a big mess up, it's still in a big mess up with Ukraine, then it's all fair game. And why does the United States want Greenland? Why is Trump talking about Greenland over and over again? Well, you have not only the rare earth minerals that are being used right now for magnets. Magnets are necessary for two main things that are all the rage right now, which is AI chips and electric vehicles. So you have those, I think that I forgot the names. I reviewed the names, but I forgot. There was at least 4 of them. Greenland, it's great about it, and that would tip the scales in America's favor in terms of this rare earth that Venezuela at the same time also has part of these rare earth minerals, rare earths. And what is the other thing? That's why I don't think that China is that comfortable with this happening. At the same time, if we go back to the world diagram, you notice that there's let's say in some parts of this, we're looking at this, looking at this the wrong way. Let me see if I can fix this. All right, so you see that there's Japan, there's South Korea, you have China in here. Technically, if you could secure this sea space here, Asia could do commerce with Europe much easier without going through the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal is right here, and Asia is on this part. They technically could go through the Bering Strait, all right, which is this small strait here between Russia and Alaska. And that would save 7,000, I think, kilometers or miles. I think it was 7,000 kilometers of, which is a lot. It's a lot. It would be easier for Asia to do commerce with Europe. Again, all of this, it is contested, and at the same time, it would be beneficial to Europe. I don't know why Europe. I have the idea that Europe doesn't want this because, nobody wants an easy win for Trump. Nobody wants an easy win for Trump. He's gonna buy it, but the problem is that is it being sold? I don't know. There are people who actually in Greenland they are pushing for this as usual. It's not everyone in Greenland, though the population of Greenland, I don't know. It's let me see, what is the total population of? Need to check this out. All right. Greenland's population is very small, hovering around 56,000 to 57,000 people. So if you see a video like this by Nick Shirley back in, this was 1 year ago, Greenland for Trump.
I'm here in Greenland. This kid's got a MAGA hat on. What's your message to Donald Trump?
Fight Greenland.
Fight Greenland.
Fight Greenland. Fight Greenland.
No more Danish.
No more Danish. We don't like Danish people.
There's another comment in here that I agree that he will get it cheaper than anyone expected. I think I agree with you, Rick Lee, Carnivore. Trump is first and foremost a businessman, and as first and foremost a businessman, I've told you, and this goes through the same pattern. He wants this. He wants to organize this. Again, this is a mess of. Okay, he wants to organize all this so America can get a cut, Europe can get a cut, Asia can get a cut, Russia can get a cut. It's like Oprah with the cars. Okay, because Trump knows that open and free commerce is the way to prosperity. Again, there are interests, of course, that if you seize the territory of Greenland, you will have access to those rare earths that are so important to win this technology race. At the same time, when people say that there's an AI race, I have my doubts because I have, as I mentioned you, there's like this, let's say 60 to 80% overvaluation of the actual AI market. That would have a correction anytime soon, especially when you see people like Sam Altman of OpenAI saying that ChatGPT is going to have ads, when he said 1 year ago that ads was not contemplated at all in ChatGPT, and it's already being tested. So you see, this is what's happening. Okay, we thought that we're going to have flying cars. We don't have flying cars. We thought that AI was going to do everything. Not yet. It's not taking jobs, and the jobs that it's taken, let's say we will have to wait a few months to realize if that is actually working, because I don't think that is, at least with the current AI technology, I don't think that is an actual solution to things. There are other approaches that could be welcome. Miss White, the simple diplomatic solution is Baron Trump marries Princess Isabella of Denmark, and Greenland is given to America as dowry payment. I mean, this is a great idea. This is a great idea. I'm not gonna lie. It's really fun. Trump also has some words for this. He says that Europe has to hand over Greenland because Denmark cannot protect it, and he is to a great extent right. If anybody wanted to just grab Greenland, they could do that because no, Denmark doesn't have the firepower. Europe doesn't have the firepower for this. They don't even go there because a boat went there 500 years ago and left. That doesn't give you title to property. It's like his joke of 2 dog sleds protecting Greenland.
The Arctic Russian threats is important to you. Why are you upset about NATO allies taking that, more seriously in Greenland by holding military exercises?
Well, that wasn't a military. They sent a few people. And they say they sent them not for me, but to guard against Russia. But, NATO's been warning Denmark for about 20 years now, longer than that, 25 years. They've been warning Denmark about the Russian threat. And it's not only Russia, it's also China. So we'll see what happens. But let's put it this way. It's going to be a very interesting Davos. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good flight. Thank you. Yeah,
I was saying that Europe has to do something about it. Other takes that I had in here, there's some back and forth posted by Trump himself, from President Macron to President Trump. My friend, we're totally in line on Syria. We can do great things on Iran. I don't understand what you're doing on Greenland. Why? Why are you bullying us? I don't know. This, you can put sunglasses on the man. You can put sunglasses on Emmanuel Macron, but he's still a wimp. I hope that they do the right thing. Coach Noah Revoy, Trump goes to Europe and says, you're going to need to build up your militaries because the United States cannot afford to keep large armies stationed in Europe anymore. We're going to need to pull them out. Europe responds, no, we don't want to do that. Then many hawkish politicians back in America also respond, no, we do not want to do that either. So Trump says, in that case, I am taking Greenland. And suddenly, Europe decides to build up its military. It increases the number of soldiers, expands equipment, stockpiles, and ramps up its capacity to produce military goods. I mean, this is something that Trump does all the time. He gets leverage from triggering people the right way. That's that is the joke, that if Trump said that breathing oxygen is good for you, then the liberal population will drop really quickly in a matter of minutes. But that is reality. That's how he does his thing. He knows that people despises him. A lot of people despise him, and he weaponized that against them. It's like, I'm gonna tell them this reverse engineering, the reverse Trump psychology to make people act the way that he wants. It doesn't always work as he expects. Sometimes it's like in the sense of Iran. He has said a lot about Iran, but maybe it hasn't worked the way that he expected. But most of the time it works, and especially internally has worked like a charm. A couple of things that I want to mention here before we wrap up the Greenland topic is that, shockingly, our quote-unquote brilliant NATO ally, the United Kingdom, is currently planning to give away the island of Diego Garcia, the site of a vital U.S. military base, to Mauritius, and to do so for no reason whatsoever. There is no doubt that China and Russia have noticed this act of total weakness. These are international powers who only recognize strength, and that's why I tell you, maybe Lavrov said that Russia is okay with the Greenland thing. I find it surprising because it would have America basically dominate the North Pole, basically. But I don't see anything that Russia can do about that. Russia is already crippled by the Ukraine war. But China is the issue here, but at the same time, the move on Maduro and the control of Venezuela, you already know, if you have been following my videos and my analysis, you already know that the move on Venezuela was also to make a move on China, and this domino effect and this chain reaction that we are still trying to make sense of. I am still trying to make sense of, and as soon as I connect more dots, you will not know about it right here. So make sure you like and subscribe. But let me know what you think about this in the comments. So, yeah, we need waterway protected, and of course we could charge to pass through the Panama Canal. Greenland is also crucial to Americans' Iron Dome plans. I forgot to say that, Chris, my king. You are right. I forgot that because you would have bases that for any attack, any intercontinental attack from the other side of the world, namely Russia, you would have a vantage point with Greenland. You would have there's a small, I think there's a small air base, a very small air base. I'm going to tell you exactly where it is. It's, let me see. That air base it's really up north. It seems like here, like lost in the middle of nowhere. I think I don't remember, but it's like this area. This is Greenland. It's way up north. I don't remember the exact location, but it's there. It's there. Let me see. This is a great point, Jada Zab. There's a great point. I am sure there are many Greenlanders who don't want the violence and politics they see that happens in the USA. Yeah, well, you know that the USA can be interesting in terms of guns and politics and racial unrest and all that. Thanks, Obama. I think that they are living a peaceful existence, but at the same time, we need to take a look at this in the great scheme of things, as in maybe Greenlanders also want to thrive, want better life conditions, and a thriving economy could help them as well. And I think that everybody could be okay with that. Also, the safety in terms of security or worldwide security, I don't know how to say that, safety, or I'm going to find the word, but you know, that stability worldwide. The more stable the world is, the easiest is to do business with each other, the better we are going to be with each other. That's what we're aiming for right here. You know that Trump wants, people say that Trump is all for peace, but I would say that he's all for business, which is not bad in the least. I think that is great. A peaceful world is a world that is easy to do business with, everyone. So That's what we are aiming for here. Thank you for your super chat, or Ricky Lee Carnivore as well, and for your brilliant comments as well. Very on point comments. And so we can move on to the next topic. What is the next topic of today? We need to keep talking about Don Lemon. We already mentioned that he was with this horrible raid, this horde that invaded a church during mass because the priest was allegedly a ICE informant or officer or whatever. So this was just terror. This was just trying to inspire terror. So he's doubling down. He's doing interviews. I mean, he's the victim. He has had nothing to do with that horde, with that crowd, with that invasion. But at the same time, he said that is the kind of things that have to be done, that people must be uncomfortable. That's what he said. And, even the children who were in church that day. So that's the kind of people that we're dealing with. Don Lemon on religious people. They feel entitled because they are white supremacists. So this is a matter of white supremacy. Wait. First, it was about ICE, because they want to hug an Abrodian every day. They want to hug an illegal. They won't host an illegal in their homes. No, they're not going to do that, of course. But no, this is about white supremacy. And I have to remind you that Don Lemon is married to a white guy. A thing that I don't understand. I mean, not the being married to a guy. I mean, married to a white guy, and basically his business is go against white supremacy. I don't know. I don't know how are going to be things at home. I don't care and don't want to know, but that doesn't make sense. There's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people in religious groups like that feel entitled. And that entitlement comes from a sense of supremacy, specifically white supremacy. I guess there were no black people on that church because there were definitely black people on that church at that moment. So you understand the level of I don't know, hubris we're talking about.
And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that I'm the biggest name there. And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning, you and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America.
Yeah, it's all about that. We're going to be talking about Michelle Obama as well. But Michelle is, I'm gonna say it. And you'll be surprised when we go for that Michelle Obama section. Michelle Obama has been way more polite about this, and I'm not gonna spoil anything, but yeah, this has been a clusterfuck. Donald Trump, just watch footage of the church raid in Minnesota by the agitators and insurrectionists. These people are professionals. No person acts the way they act. They're highly trained to scream, rant, and rave like lunatics in a certain manner, just like they're doing. They're troublemakers who should be thrown in jail or thrown out of the country. The first to go should be Walz. Yeah, Tim Walz has to go, first and foremost. And fake sleazebag Ilhan Omar, which I still don't know. After everything that has been said about Ilhan Omar, I have made like 2 videos. It's not like I don't know. It's like I'm blowing the lead. Like it's shocking truth. No, everybody knows that what is happening about Ilhan Omar, and nothing happens, and that is disheartening. People are saying, why are there no prosecutions? Why is there nothing being done? And some people are saying, like Cernovich, okay, we need to be a bit more patient. But how much more patient? We are already 1 year into Trump's mandate, and we need more results. I mean, the Senate and Congress needs to get their act together, because this is not looking good. At this pace, this is not looking good for the midterms in November. Well, who is supposedly worth over $30 million, even though she's never had anything but a government job. Investigate these corrupt politicians and do it now. Who should investigate these corrupt politicians? Should be the Attorney General of the United States? Should be, I don't know. I have no idea in this case who should prosecute this. I should find out more about that. But there are voices of reasons out there. A message to Don Lemon, people that are fired up about this. Let's listen to this.
The administration and the fake news magas are losing their mind over something that's not even true.
Oh, no, sir. This ain't got nothing to do with MAGA. This got everything to do with you taking your fagger ass up in that church and harassing people like that. Now you want to circle back and act like, oh, well, I am in no affiliation, association. No. You are in 110% corroboration with the Democratic Party that is causing more and more problems. You, by the way, who keeps saying that white people are devils, but you married to a white man. So does that make you the devil's broad? I'm trying to understand, what is it exactly that you are doing, and what is it exactly that you want us to think that you're doing? You are opposition to any and everything that is successful in this country. Anything that is trying to get this country together, you are in direct opposition of. But then you want to come back and try to play the victim. No, you're not a victim, Don. You are not a victim. You are 100% guilty of all the shit that you have already done. And then you keep doing it. Then you keep doing it. Then you want us to come in and talk about, oh, well, you know, it's the news. It's the news. You're a damn journalist yourself. Listen, people, I keep trying to tell you, we're doing a complete separation. If you are not a melanated American, if you are not one of our non-melanated cousins, all y'all can get out. Even the people that were born here. If you do not like this country, and Don, you got plenty of money, take your ass somewhere else. You and your husband. Why don't you go somewhere? Where is all the rest of these people? Where did what's the name? The white lady that had the TV show. Go with Portia. Go over with Ellen DeGeneres. Why don't you go be neighbors with Ellen and them? Just get that fuck out.
All right, that is. I endorse this message. And this is from. Make sure to follow her on TikTok, Megan McGlover. I'm gonna leave that. Megan, you are on point. And boy, that escalated quickly, but what was well deserved. I was well deserved. Endorse it, completely endorse. Also, DOJ, at least we have this, announces intention to charge Don Lemon under the Ku Klux Klan Act. The KKK Act makes it illegal to threaten, hurt, or intimidate people to prevent them from exercising their God-given rights. Harmet Dillon, the Klan Act is one of the most important federal civil rights statutes. It is a law that makes it illegal to terrorize and violate the civil rights of citizens. Whenever people conspire this, the Klan Act can be used. Everyone in the protest community needs to know that the fullest force of the federal government is going to come down and prevent this from happening and put people away from a long time. And I can already guess what the left is saying, that this is against freedom of speech. This is against the, the right to protest and stuff. But you can protest on the street. You cannot just invade church. It's something that is like we were talking yesterday. We were talking yesterday about Andrew Tate, in the sense that many people say, oh, he has not been convicted of anything. All right, but you don't need somebody to be convicted to form an opinion about him, in the same way that you can have two conflicting laws, right, or constitutional rights, but at the same time have the common sense to say, hey, you know what, this is crazy what we are doing, we'd better not do this. So that's why Trump says that this looks organized, because sane people would say, we're going to protest and we're going to shout Renee Good's name and gonna go protest against ICE, but you could have go for the ICE priest, because the priest was some kind of ICE officer according to them. They could have done that after the mass ended, after the service ended. They could have perfectly have done that. They didn't. They wanted the provocation. They wanted the conflict, because it's in that conflict that they trigger reactions, and those reactions is that what they need to become victims. So it's all part of this coordinated attacks on people, not only on ICE officers, but also on regular people who have nothing to do. Maybe people in that church are also against ICE. Have you thought about that? Maybe, let's say that half of the people who were attending Mass in that church are against ICE deporting illegals. That could happen. But maybe they don't agree with this anti-ICE hordes doing what they did. There's a time and place and everything. You can be against what Donald Trump is doing. You can protest. You can, but not do stupid things. We already spoke about the Renee Good case. It was a tragedy, and well, the thing is that so many crazy stuff here. I just want to mention that the lady that was interviewing Don Lemon, I just mentioned in my ex, just mentioned passingly, that someone said that Jennifer Welch looks like an alien wearing an ill-fitted human suit, and now I can't unsee it. And so many people on my comments were seeing two things. She looks like the guy from Men in Black, the one who pulls his face back, that meme. And two, that she looks like a future Dylan Mulvaney. That cannot be unseen as well. Again, this are the people that are ugly on the inside and have this, let's say, angles. She looks way better here. I have to say that. Even Don Lemon looks better here. It's all a matter of angles. But these people are evil. These people are evil on purpose. They're not doing this, we are. No, they want to push a narrative. They want to push the conflict because they know that conflict not only has results, like George Soros is happy with that, but also gets clicks. Something that, that is, we are in the attention economy. If the more you trigger people, the more clicks you get, the more money you get. And we, here in the Body Language Guide channel, we try to break that chain and try to make sense of the world. So make sure that you like and subscribe and leave a comment. What do you think about this? I would love to read what is your take on this. So again, let's I'm gonna check your comments. Is eyelid surgery? They all go to the same doctor too. Blepharoplasty, I think that is the name. It's not necessarily. It's sometimes that they stretch their face, and they look like those. They look like I'm not gonna name names. That is especially women, but there are men who have done that, and that looks horrible. It's something that is absolutely complete infamy. We need to talk about. I was about to say. Now that we're talking about men, I am not going there. 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 People laughing in the comments. I love that you laugh in the comments because you know that you're having fun. Are you having fun? Are you not entertained? Oh my God. Oh my God. We need to talk about Michelle Obama because she's got a take that people are misrepresenting. You know that in my channel, I try to fight disinformation and misinformation, no matter where it comes from. And I don't like when people try to, let's say, distort what people have said, because that happened to me a couple times. I say something, maybe I tweet something, or I say something on my videos, and people misrepresent what I said and claim that I said something else. And that is kind of what is happening here with Michelle Obama. So it's not like I'm going to defend her. She's still pushing the racist narrative that her husband made sure to establish in those 8 years of infamy. But we are seeing like this kind of change in Democrats right now, in the rhetoric is becoming softer. I'm going to tell you, this is from N Wokeness. I follow N Wokeness from some time, and I saw this headline, and I advise you to always go beyond the headline. Do not react to the headline. Make sure that you play the video. And in this case, the headline says, or the caption says, Michelle Obama says she is mindful to try to avoid white-owned brands, and others also should be. And I say, oh, why? That absolutely has to go on my show. I have to see that, and I have to watch the clip. And you have to watch the clip, and let's watch the clip together to see if that is what she said. And this is the clip that everybody is copying and pasting with the same caption. Let's see. Let's hear her own words.
If I hear of someone whose fashion that I like, and I know that they're a person of color, I try to make it a point. But the clothes have to be available. Right. You know, I think we can all do some work to think about that balance in our wardrobes. You know, what does our closet look like, and who's in it? Mm-hmm. Who are we supporting in it? Right. You know, and I think if you have the money to buy Chanel, mm-hmm. then you have the money to buy everybody. Right. And so let us be mindful, I think would be my advice.
That is a clip. Did you hear what the caption said? Michelle Obama says she is mindful to try to avoid white-owned brands, and others also should be. I mean, this has to do also with reading comprehension. There's a crisis of reading comprehension, and there was a crisis of reading comprehension 10 years ago when we did not have vertical videos. Now that we have vertical videos, the stream of vertical videos, there's even more of a crisis of reading comprehension. And this is an actual false equivalence. At no point she said that you should try to avoid white-owned brands and others also should be. You could say that she implied it, but from what she said, I have to say two things here, and this is part of how Democrats' rhetoric has changed in the past 6 months dramatically. It's interesting to watch, and it's also by design. There's also a reason why this is happening. I'm going to explain it in a minute. But she's not saying expressly to avoid white-owned brands, but if you can buy a white-owned brand, as in, I don't know if she considers Chanel white-owned brand. I don't know if you could say that it is a white-owned brand. I really don't know if that's her point. But her point was actually that if you can afford Chanel without mentioning race at all, then you can afford to buy anything from, black-owned businesses. Which, not gonna lie, that is an actual statement. I'm not going to say that it's a sound statement. It is just a statement. It's something that's objectively true. We need to assume that we need to accept that it's an objectively true statement. You can afford Chanel. You can afford smaller creators. And since, her audience is black women, of course, she is rooting for black women-owned businesses to thrive. So it's just like more or less, maybe not saying white-owned brands, but if you have the money to buy Chanel, then you should support black women. Which at the same time, I have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with black women having businesses and, trying to break out. I think it's great that black women, white women, women in general, have the ability. There's a great time right now. Online businesses can thrive anywhere. except if you're Meghan Markle. That is another topic for, another session. But bear with me with this. Black women in general, regardless of color. I don't know why we're talking about color, because it's the Obamas, of course. If it's the Obamas, you have to make it about the color. That's their audience. And I think it's great that women can have a business anywhere, online, and on demand. It's like amazing. We are living in the timest of times in that regard. But you need to know how to be competitive. That is how capitalism works. Okay, you can be intelligent, of course, and maybe you can reach out to Michelle Obama herself, say, maybe you can have some kind of campaign, organize a campaign or some kind of initiative to make more visible this Black-owned women's businesses. And that would be great. That would be great indeed. Michelle Obama is like Meghan Markle. They have a platform. It would be great if they use that platform for people other than themselves. Because they always say, like Meghan, I want to empower women. I want to empower women and girls. Where's the empowerment? Where's empowerment? You have the power to do that. You have the platform to do that. You just have to snap your fingers like reverse Thanos and do the right thing. But no, it's way more comfortable, You just make sure that you promote your book. You have your coffee table book right there. Look, it's Michelle Obama. I don't know if it's a book about fashion, I guess. I certainly have no idea. It is obvious that her target audience is Black women. But again, I don't like when people try to misrepresent what people have said on clips, and most people are not going to watch the clip, even if it's Michelle Obama. But at the same time, I don't think this is a problem, an issue of Black women. I think this is a problem of being competitive. And if you think of being competitive, you needed to know about the market. I'm just going to mention here that these people are never going to say it. Obama is never going to say it. Tim Walz is never going to say it. Kamala Harris is never going to say it. AOC is never going to say it. Gavin Newsom is never going to say it. But capitalism has a way of working on your favor. Capitalism is not only, the exploitation of people so you can have more money. No. Right now, capitalism can be from solopreneurs. I am a solopreneur. I don't exploit anybody. I'm a one-man operation, and anybody can be a one-man operation nowadays, especially with the tools that we have with AI. That is the silver lining of AI that can aid you in things. So everything is interconnected in this regard. And the thing is that we are at the gates of having the first solopreneur billionaire, the first billionaire solopreneur. So when that happens, that is going to be interesting. That is, I give it less than 10 years for one guy to become a billionaire working just with AI. It's just on his garage, on his mother's basement, because that would be a reality. Now, what would be the rhetoric then? You are exploiting who? Who are you exploiting? You're just paying for a service, which is a computer or an AI, and you're making the AI help you do the... So, and then these people are going to say, oh, you are not hiring people that might need the job. Yeah, but at the same time, it means that you need to understand. I think this is how my mind works. I tend to see the world in terms of opportunities. There's a lot of crisis, of course, in the world right now. But I think this is a moment that you need to realize where is the market going. I mean, so many people, you see the EU is in love with AI right now. The World Economic Forum is foaming at the mouth with AI. For so many reasons, you might as well have a tiny slice of the pie, why not, and try to seize the opportunity to be competitive. And that is the actual message that Michelle Obama should be pushing. Be more competitive. Even if you come from a humble background, if you come from the hood, there are this democratized, I don't know how to say that, massive tools that you can use to build a business. And learning them is as simple right now as learning English. You can just prompt things into existence. You can vibe code. You can actually do things. You just have to need the, go for it. So again, I wanted this section to be about two things. First, I don't like when things are misrepresented, and this was a misrepresentation of Michelle's words. But at the same time, she still wants to push the race card no matter what, so she still goes to jail. As Erin Durham says, if the phrase "I try to avoid black-owned brands" came out of the white first lady's mouth, the country would have a meltdown. Racism is racism. Erin is reacting to the headline. Erin obviously did not watch the video. That is the problem. And that is how this outrage attention economy just keeps rolling. That is maybe something for another video, in which we need to be wary where we put our minds to, because there's a lot of outrage out there, and it is not good. It is not healthy to be constantly connected to that. But I would like to know, what do you think about this in the comments? And I'm keeping an eye on your live chat as well. So commies aren't competitive, because the commies are always waiting for, the handouts of the state, Papa State, the welfare state. Oh my God, I remember when I studied that in economics, the welfare state. Oh no, it was so horrible. In terms of you have to wait until the state gives you some kind of hand-me-down, some kind of anything. And I find that pathetic, because I always believe that, we have the energy. We have the energy to do things, to go out there, to build things by themselves. We are creators. Every single one of us are creators, men or women. It's no matter your age, no matter what time you begin, the time to begin is now. I believe in you. And I want to tell you over and over again that you can do it. That you've got this. I'm pretty sure every single one of us can have whatever we want, as long as we know what we are going for. AI would conveniently leave out biblical truth and contrary thoughts and ideals. There's a problem with this AI is going to spew whatever it is trained on. And I made a video about that, how Grok, for example, the video generation part of Grok is trained on pornography as well. So it would have let's say crazy results sometimes, like in a non-negligible amount of times. And when you're asking something to an LLM like ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok itself or Claude, you could have unpredictable results and you could have misleading results. So you have to double check. That is important. It is not going to be automated anytime soon. It's not going to be a magic machine anytime soon. And you have to double check, because you can get into a lot of trouble, if you have a misstep. Let me check my stream health. Remember that today, for the first time in forever, we are live through YouTube, on Facebook as well, on X, on Rumble, on Twitch, and on Substack. I didn't know I could live stream the Substack. I said, what the hell? Let's live stream to Substack as well. AI is unable to explain how it makes decisions or hallucinations. This is important. AI cannot verify itself unless you double ask it to do it. And it's, oh, you're absolutely right. I hated that sentence with all my soul. Oh, you're absolutely right. I was wrong. Thank you for pointing that out. And what if I'm asking something that I have no idea of? How do I know that the AI is actually telling me 100% what is real and what is not? And what about when it is based on information that is out there pushed by agendas? So the answer that you get is based on training or searches of agendas pushed by people that maybe have different principles than you. Big questions. We have big questions. There's a lot of opportunity, but I don't know. It's just there's a lot of opportunity. I would say my recommendation before we go on to this train wreck, the actual train wreck. My recommendation with AI is to, in business in general, go for it. Asks question later. Remember these words: fortune favors the bold. And let's say when it comes to fortune, it has not been keen on the Beckham family, because we now have the most pathetic meltdown from Brooklyn Beckham. We knew this started, rocky back in the day. I covered his marriage to Nicola Peltz, the daughter of Nelson Peltz, this billionaire who at some point tried to be in the chair of Disney and failed. And now Brooklyn is basically saying goodbye. He cannot stand his family anymore, and there are all sorts of reactions about this, and we need to address this to see what is really going on. I found this interesting, especially because of the drama and gossip, and boy, do people really love this. My wife and I do not want a life shaped by image, press, or manipulation. All we want is peace, privacy, and happiness for us and our future family. Boy, he's surely, don't call me Shirley, surely sounds like Prince Harry. It surely sounds like Harry. Sounds exactly like Harry. No difference. Brooklyn Beckham speaks out against parents Victoria and David Beckham. I do not want to reconcile with my family. That is pathetic. That's why this is peak feminine polarity gone bad. I mean, you know that both men and women, we have masculine and feminine polarity. We need to know how to use both of them. This is feminine polarity off the rails in the worst way possible. I mean, this is unchecked polarity that it is the worst that he could have done. I am not being controlled. I'm standing up for myself for the first time in my life. If you were not controlled, you wouldn't have the need to say that. If you are in control of your life, if you for the first time you are free, you're happy. You are content with yourself. You are looking at the future with bright eyes, with this spark in your pupils. But no, you have to whine on Instagram about that. I'm sure that you're not as happy and content and free as you claim to be, because precisely we're finding out about this. How come I know about this? Why me, of any people, have nothing to do with gossip most of the time? I'm finding out about this because he went to Instagram and began a rant on his reels. Yeah, that is I don't know. There's a word for that. I don't know what to say that. It's too early. It's too early. My parents have been trying endlessly to ruin my relationship since before my wedding, and it hasn't stopped. As Margie says, Nicola wrote that. This parallels. I mean, I have this deja vu. This is Meghan. They are speed running, Meghan and Harry. We are living. This is 2018, 2019 all over again. What is going on? I have been silent for years and made every effort to keep these matters private. Again, this is not how a man talks. This is not how a man talks. Unfortunately, my parents and their team have continued to go to the press, leaving me with no choice but to speak for myself and tell the truth about only some of the lies that have been printed. Why would his parents do this? I don't know. I do not want to reconcile with my family. I am not being controlled. I'm standing up for myself for the first time in my life. You know that it sounds like a woman speaking? I mean, no offense to women, but this sounds like a lady. So I want to emancipate from this. It sounds like a lady when finally has an abusive husband and she can finally stand for herself, and she will not tolerate the abuse anymore, and she gets a divorce, and she is free at last. That sounds like it. That sounds like it. Because if you're a man, you suck it up. You stand up, stand tall, and you just do your thing. You don't spark gossip. You don't go to Instagram. That is so beta coded. For my entire life, my parents have controlled narratives in the press about our family. The performative social media posts, family events, and inauthentic relationships have been a fixture of the life I was born into. Brother, you were massively privileged because of something that has 5 letters, one word of 5 letters. Brand. But no, not Russell Brand. I mean a brand. It's called a brand. Michael Jordan has a brand. Cristiano Ronaldo has a brand. Everybody has a brand. I have a brand. And we make sure that our brands resonate. That our brands are, go global. And the more our brand resonates, well, the more opportunities you have. Opportunities to travel, opportunities to meet interesting people, opportunities to marry daughters of billionaires. Yeah, that happens. Have you thought about that, man? I think that you did not think this through. I think that you are an ungrateful bitch. That's what a whiny bitch, ungrateful. Recently, I have seen with my own eyes the lengths that they'll go through to place countless lies in the media, mostly at the expense of innocent people, to preserve their own facade. But I believe the truth always comes out. This is speaking like Meghan. This is Meghan. This is this guy, again, literally. My parents have been trying endlessly to ruin my relationship since before my wedding, and it hasn't stopped. My mom canceled making Nicola's dress in the 11th hour despite how excited she was to wear her design, forcing her to urgently find a new dress. That's not what we knew about this. That's not the story that we knew. Again, it's anyone's guess what was the real story about this. But again, this sounds so beta that is easy to dismiss. I don't know. I have no horse in this race, by the way. Weeks before our big day, my parents repeatedly pressured and attempted to bribe me into signing away their rights to my name, which would have affected me, my wife, and our future children. What is your name? What is your name? What made have you made for yourself? You effing loser. You don't know how even to cook an egg. You have been through more professions like I don't know, than Marco Rubio. You tried to be a photographer. You tried to be a chef or something like that. You tried to be a model. None of that stuck. You say that your name, your brand, you have nothing. All you have is because of your parents. That's the reality. Maybe you could have changed your last name and tried to go on your own. That would have been the right thing to do. But you don't get to complain after you get all the benefits of being the son of David and Victoria Beckham. Because again, that is, you are actually, you are complaining in ways that I don't understand. I don't understand. I am pretty sure, I'm 100% sure that Nicola doesn't respect this guy. And Nicola also married this guy only because, you know it, I'm not going to say it, only because he was a Beckham. Yes, I'm not going to lie, that helps. That helps. I could change my name to Jesus Enrique Beckham to see what happens, maybe for a month or two, just to do the experiment. They were adamant to me signing before my wedding date before then the terms of the deal would be initiated. My holdout affected the payday, and they have never treated me the same since. During the wedding planning, my mom went so far as to call me evil because Nicola and I chose to include my nanny Sandra and Nicola's nanny at our table. Boy, you should have written a Hallmark Channel movie with this. And you could have got some nice money with that. Maybe you can establish yourself as a director of, I don't know, sassy stories, because you're very good at that. because they both didn't have their husbands. Both of our parents had their own tables equally adjacent to ours. The night before our wedding, members of my family told me that Nicola was not blood and not family. Since the moment I started standing up for myself with my family, I've received endless attacks from my parents, both privately and publicly, that were sent to the press on their orders. Even my brothers were sent to attack me on social media. I don't know, have you seen those attacks? I didn't see those attacks. Maybe those attacks exist, but I did not get to see them. Are those attacks in the room with us right now? I don't know. I didn't see them. Before they ultimately blocked me out of nowhere this last summer. But this is what I don't understand. You want to go on your own. You claim that you're standing on your own. You're free at last. And you're complaining that your brothers blocked you on where? On Instagram? On the WhatsApp chat group? You're happy with your life and you're complaining about being blocked? How does that work? I don't get it. My mom hijacked my first dance with my wife, which had been planned weeks in advance, to a romantic love song. I'm not going to rain on anyone's parade, but thanks to Royal Sage, the first dance with his wife was not stolen. He was lying. You can see the couple's first dance, and yeah, this is absolutely the dude with Nicola. I don't see Victoria anywhere hijacking anything, so it sounds like an exaggeration on his part. In front of our 500 wedding guests, Mark Anthony called me to the stage where in the schedule was planned to be my romantic dance with my wife, but instead my mom was waiting to dance with me instead. She danced very inappropriately on me in front of everyone. The memes. I didn't have time to paste any memes. You can imagine what dance inappropriately. This is baffling. This is baffling of this child, because this is a boy. This is a child. This is not a man complaining this way on Instagram. This is as pathetic as it gets. He's looking for Oprah. Oprah is calling him. Oprah is dialing right now. I need to do an interview with these two guys. But I bet that the one who is going to speak the most is Nicole in that interview. Don't tell me how I know. I don't know, but I know. You know that. You know how that works. I've never felt more uncomfortable or humiliated in my entire life. And that is a stretch, being you. We wanted to renew our vows so we could create new memories of our wedding day that bring us joy and happiness, not anxiety and embarrassment. I don't have that meme, but that's that meme of this black dude saying, "Why are you gay? Why are you gay?" That's the meme that we need to insert. I need a button to have those memes pop up on my show. I'm working on it. I will have a button just "Why are you gay?" My wife has been consistently disrespected by my family, no matter how hard we've tried to come together as one. My mom has repeatedly invited women from my past into our lives in ways that were clearly intended to make us both uncomfortable. Why? And how did Victoria send those women by mail to your doorstep? I don't know how that works. I don't know. Maybe this is like a Mexican soap opera thing, that you're having a barbecue in the family and all of a sudden one of your ex-girlfriend shows up. You have this big zoom on your ex-girlfriend's face, zoom on your face, zoom on Nicola's face, zoom on Victoria's face, zoom on David, and David is cooking the hamburgers and he drops the hamburger in slow motion and falls, or the beer smashes against the ground in slow motion. That's what you're saying? We could write a novella here. We could write a telenovela here. I'm down for it. Let's do it. Let's do this. This is Perfect. This is amazing. Despite this, we still traveled to London to my dad's birthday, and we were rejected for a week as we waited in our hotel room trying to plan quality time with him. He refused all of our attempts unless it was at his big birthday party with 100 guests and cameras at every corner. When he finally agreed to see me, it was under the condition that Nicola wasn't invited. It was a slap in the face. Mexican soap opera stuff. Later, when my family traveled to LA, they refused to see me at all. My family values public promotion and endorsement above all else. Brand Beckham comes first. Family love is decided by how much you post on social media or how quickly you drop everything to show up and post for a family photo op. I mean, that is a possibility. There are people that work that way. I wouldn't be surprised that Brand Beckham works like I'm not going to put my hands on the fire for anybody. That could be a thing. But if you know that that's going on with your family, you simply put distance with them, not begin accusing them of something. You just live your life in peace. You try to find your own calling, whatever it is, if there is one. And you have, I'm going to say it, you have quite a lot of opportunities being married to, the heir of a billionaire. You have a billionaire father-in-law. I'm not going to be tired of repeating that. You have the last name, you have the money. I don't know what you're complaining about. Why are you complaining? Even if it's at the expense of our professional obligations. We've gone out of our way for years to show up and support every fashion show, every party, every press activity to show our perfect family. But the one time my wife asked for my mom's support to save displaced dogs during the LA fires, my mom refused. What? What the avocado toast folk? This deserves a Liverpool accent. What the fuck? What the fuck is this? My Liverpool accent is very bad. Please, I apologize for anyone from Liverpool. What the fuck is this? But the one time my wife asked for my mom's support to save displaced dogs during the LA fires, my mom refused. What? What? This is an actual thing. This is an actual thing. What? I hadn't read this thing. I saw the wall of text. I'm gonna read that live. I'm gonna react to that live. What the fuck? The narrative that my wife controls me is completely backwards. He controls his wife, allegedly. I have been controlled by my parents for most of my life. I am not controlled by my wife. I am being controlled by my parents. I grew up with overwhelming anxiety. Oh my God. Yeah, no, I have to look for that. I apologize. This is gonna be longer than usual. I have to look for it. This deserves a few seconds, just a few seconds, out of the time of this section that shouldn't be this long, but I absolutely needed to. Maybe you don't know, you're not aware of what I'm talking about. And I'm talking about this. This is the actual message for Brooklyn Beckham. Yeah, this. What? Lack of oxygen during birth, fetal alcohol syndrome. I don't know. I don't know if Victoria took enough folic acid. She should have taken more folic acid. That is for sure. For sure. For the first time in my life since stepping away from my family, that anxiety has disappeared. Then why are you complaining? I wake up every morning grateful for the life I chose and have found peace and relief. I can imagine him, drinking his coffee in his, bedroom or whatever. My wife and I, that sounds absolutely like Harry, do not want a life shaped by image, press, or manipulation. I could read this in Harry's voice. My wife and I do not want a life shaped by image, press, or manipulation. All we want peace, privacy, and happiness for us and our future family. This is Prince Harry 2.0. This is Spare Part 2. This is absolutely indistinguishable from Prince Harry. I don't know how that works. I don't know. This is baffling to see. I have a lot more content. This is so hot. This is so hot. I have to mention, by the way, that Dan Wootton has an interesting take on this. Big shout out to Dan Wootton. I remember that when I had that interview with him, had a lot of fun. Dan Wootton says, I reported on David and Victoria Beckham for years. People might not like this, but everything Brooklyn Beckham just revealed is legit. He has just exploded brand Beckham in one Instagram post. I recommend you read it all before casting judgment. Again, the brand Beckham thing, I wouldn't deny it exists. It is obvious that it exists. That's the reason why Victoria Beckham and David Beckham on their own and together are a powerhouse. That's a little powerhouse. That's nothing, that is not by accident. That's an actual thing. So brand Beckham does exist. Let's say my observation would be that the way that he's exposing it, Brooklyn Beckham is exposing it, is maybe not the best way to do it. And it sounds like, yeah, he is complaining about stuff. David Beckham ignores questions about his son Brooklyn following his statement renouncing his parents yesterday.
But I also want to bring you this. This is David Beckham, whose son Brooklyn's been speaking out about an alleged family rift. Paul Kelso's in Davos and caught up with David Beckham.
David, do you have a message for Brooklyn this morning?
No message for Brooklyn, apparently.
David, you disappointed family business is being aired in public?
No, it's family business. It should not be aired in public. But it seems that David says something. There's this here. David Beckham speaks out after his son Brooklyn.
They make mistakes. Children are allowed to make mistakes. That's how they learn. So that's what I try to teach my kids. But you have to sometimes let them make those mistakes as well.
He's making mistakes. Well, yes, I don't know if this is actually related to what Brooklyn said, but again, I guess it is. As I'm telling you, I don't know what to think. What I do know is that whining in public is pathetic. That is hands down. There's no way around that. Christine Frueba, Brooklyn Markle more like. Little Beckham boy is a spoiled, married adult living in America, never worked to pay a day's rent in his life. He married money and now whines like a baby, defaming his parents on social media. And Susie Carey to Dan Wootton, you want us to feel sorry for privileged rich kids' problems. No, Dan, many of us came up truly adverse and poor situations, and we don't slack our family off as part of publicity drive that seems driven by his wife. When did I say you should feel sorry for Brooklyn Beckham? Technically, Dan Wootton did not say that. He did not say you should feel sorry for him. He just said that that's how the PR Beckham brand works. Which, again, I am not surprised. That's brand Beckham is a thing. Publicity on family matters doesn't end well, says So Happy. So again, there's a lot of takes. Last clip I'm going to show about this is this page 6. A resurfaced clip shows the uncomfortable moment Brooklyn Beckham pulls wife Nicola Peltz into the family group shot at the premiere of their Netflix docuseries. And yeah, it's the body language. We could do a body language analysis of this. And Brooklyn's pulling Nicola and trying to tell Victoria, he touches his mom, look who's here. Isn't it Nicola? Look at her, mom. And Victoria's saying like, maybe if I don't move, they will disappear. Maybe they go away. Nicola doesn't look happy either. And you see that Victoria even turns away even more from them. Even more. No, I don't have anything to do with you. No, go away. Go away. Maybe she acknowledges them at some point. No. No acknowledgement. Oh my God. And you know that's you know I always said that Nicola has that face. That face. I don't remember how I defined that face, but she's always that like I have I don't want to say the expression. I'm going to be a gentleman. I'm not going to see the expression, but I'm pretty sure that you know what the expression is, because in English and in Venezuelan Spanish, it's very similar. It has to do with farts, okay? It's like the expression of someone who doesn't smell their own farts or something. I don't remember the exact expression, but you know what expression I'm talking about. She's got that face. And Victoria was not having it, and Brooklyn made a fool of himself. Also, resting bitch face could be. Yeah, because why not? Absolutely, that could be it. Another definition. And no, Victoria at no point acknowledged their existence. That is tough. I mean, that is tough, but that is reality. And that venting on Instagram. You don't vent on Instagram, period. But again, I would like to know what do you think about this drama in the comments. And I'm paying attention to your comments. Remember, my name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. Much love and bliss. Oh my God, that I had to put this, I'm cutting this, the section of this to republish this. That's why I was saying goodbye, but I'm not really saying goodbye. We're still here. We still have one unhinged video to watch. We still have, oh my God, I thought that, my voice, I don't know if my voice is going to stand the test of, 1 hour. We are like 1 hour and 40 minutes, and I'm here to say it's going to be 2 hours, right? It's going to be 2 hours every day, right? There's no escape. Like my voice has more stamina now. Let's see. Let's take a look at your comments. I want to see your comments while we wait for the next topic. She's thinking, please make them go away. Also called the Slavic stare. The Slavic stare. We need that more of that Slavic stare, Veronica. The RBF, the resting biatch face. Yeah, sounds like that. She shits in perfume packets. It goes like it is like that. It is like that. That is the kind of how to say this, the expression that fits perfectly in Nicola's face. Oh my God. Yeah, that last part read in Harry's voice was all that we needed. All what we needed. We need some wholesome stuff just before we move on to the next topic. It's going to be a bit triggering. The next topic is going to be a bit triggering. So maybe we need a timeline cleanse in here. Lord Bebo, this is street legal in Kentucky. The European mind can't comprehend this. What is this about? Let's see. What is this about? And this is some kind of furniture on the street. Like this is a sofa or something with a tiny lamp and a table with some blankies and even a plant and some. What is this? Street legal? You mean that this is a car or something? There's one light. It's like three wheels. I wanted to show you this. This is a perfect timeline cleanse before we go to the deep stuff. More deep stuff. And they were, shopping liquor. I get your credit card to the liquor store, like that Guns N' Roses song. Oh my God. Guns N' Roses song. They're about to leave and then they're leaving. This is better than a Uber. I mean, the European mind certainly cannot comprehend this. They're about to leave. Wait for it. They have a license plate and all. Yeah, this is as American as it gets. They're going for it, and there they go. What? Yeah, that's as American as it gets. It needs maybe more, I don't know, more horsepower, maybe some flames, maybe some neon lights. But that was, in front of the liquor barn. Very appropriate. We need to, maybe we have time for another topic here. Can be a bit triggering, but let's go for it. Can be a bit triggering. I need sound for this. I'm gonna need sound for this one. You know that in the wake of all that happened to Renee Good, some people are saying that you need to exercise some common sense, and when, you know, officers of any kind tell you to stop and get out of the vehicle, you better stop and get out of the vehicle. And some people seems to not understand plain English. It's like English is their first language, but they don't understand a basic or the most basic of commands. And they end up finding out very, very badly. So we're gonna play this. This is a bit loud. Let me see if it's my, okay. It looks familiar, right? Let's watch this.
Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Now!
299, she almost struck me.
Get out of the car!
So I'm pretty sure that you can tell that this time, for some reason this time, the libtards are not up in arms saying that, oh, this was a scratch. Nobody happened to him. Okay, there was literally running him over. Okay, it was complete unloading of the weapon. We don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened.
Shots fired! You're hit!
Shots fired. And
Show your hands!
She struck me. Shots fired.
Yeah, the good thing is what was this kind of I don't know, there's a lot of snow, so the SUV was going upwards. We're gonna see another angle.
Show your hands!
Back up! No, back up!
Show me your hands!
This is the kind of thing that I don't understand why people say that, oh, why can't they just shoot the tires? And well, I would say maybe they had time to shoot the tires, but they never imagined that she was going to do what she did. Why would they just shoot the tires? They could imagine maybe this person is rational. Maybe this person is not crazy. Maybe this person is gonna do the right thing, but no. They just went for it. And we are about to see the other angle.
Fuck, I can't move.
9 headquarters. Go ahead. 1140 South 12th Street, Natalie Shelter. There is a white Chevy Equinox at the church beside the Natalie. 911, text her, said the occupant is 55 and getting escalated. Again, 1140 South 12th. 10-4. 89 copies.
Hi, what's your name, ma'am?
Why are you calling? Why?
We got called to come check on you. They were concerned.
There's nobody concerned.
There was. We got a phone call. What's going on today?
Who did you get a call from?
I don't know. It was an anonymous caller saying there was a white.
I know,
trooper
that's
sitting-
what they keep doing that. You know, they did that in Nebraska with my children. They keep calling in false reports.
Okay.
Nothing. I don't think that it's okay for people.
I can't help it that people call, and it's my job to come respond when we have a call in, to come check on people. Okay? Now, my concern is coming out of... My concern...
Your concern is you know everybody that
My
I'm dealing with.
concern is that the car smells heavily of marijuana.
Pot. It's always pot. It's stoned.
When's the last time you smoked any marijuana in here?
Other people have smoked marijuana in here, and I don't want to get into that because then they're calling you on me.
Other people have, you don't smoke any marijuana.
I have medical marijuana. I had my card.
Do you have a medical marijuana card?
I had one.
Do you have one? Current? No. Okay. Step outside of the vehicle here.
No, you're not.
Turn off the car. Turn off the car.
No.
299, she's fleeing.
Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Now!
299, she almost struck me.
Get out of the car!
Ah!
Not fired!
Oh!
Show your hands!
299, give me Metro, she struck me. Shots fired.
Show your hands!
And so as soon as I heard that, I put two and two together, like, just keeping, like, hearing the, you know how you turn in the gravel scratches? Yeah, I heard that. And then that's when I kind of sped walked to the truck in case she was to ram me. It'd be the truck, not me. So I sped walked to it. And then she rolled her window down. She was like, no, just start screaming. I was like, hey, calm down, calm down. She started getting into people over her money.
It's so crazy. That's again. I think we had another angle here. Okay, this is the angle from the other officer. Some of you are telling me to switch to Trump, who is speaking live right now. I'm gonna switch to him in a second. Just let's get this over with. But this was insane. This is the angle from the other officer, and it's obvious that this is what's called manslaughter, right? Or it's not actual manslaughter. He was not killed, but this was 100% on purpose. And this guy was really lucky that the way that he was rammed and how he fell into the other side of the snow, and at the same time that the snow stopped the SUV. Because it would have been way more tragic. We see the glass, the window just breaking. I don't know what happened to her. This was horrific. Why does this have to happen? Why? Yeah, attempted murder is literally is attempted murder because it did not. It was not murder. Fortunately, the snow. I think this is snow. Stop the SUV. There's no movement, but these are the people that have this coming. Don't start nothing. There won't be nothing. Yeah, it's like I don't know if in this is North Dakota. If I'm not mistaken, North Dakota. I don't know if you can smoke pot in North Dakota. You can do that, or you can drive while you're smoking. I don't know the laws. I do know that I don't like the smell of pot, but I wanted to show you this because this was insane. It was one of the most insane body cam footage videos that I've seen in a while. And of course, ask for your opinion about this. What would you have done? Maybe when the officers were a few feet from the car, you would have shot the tires. But the problem is that you don't expect somebody to react in this way. So again, I would love to know, what would you have done in this officer's situation? Let me know in the comments. So let's switch to Trump, who is live. See, Trump is speaking right now, and you are telling me to just switch there. Let's go for it. If I can, and go for it. Right, and
one of the reasons I felt so strongly against Venezuela, now I'm loving Venezuela.
Oh.
They've been working with us so well. It's been so nice. And an unbelievably nice woman also did a very incredible thing, as you know, a few days ago. We're talking to her, and maybe we can get her involved in some way. I'd love to be able to do that.
Okay.
Maria.
That's nice.
Maybe we can do that.
I thought that he was speaking about
Delcy.
Delcy.
People invented the president and all of the people in Venezuela, and we've been doing great. The oil companies are getting ready to make massive investments there. They have more oil than even Saudi Arabia. There you go. These are real. These are rough. This is all Minnesota, every one of them. This is one state out of many. And these people are, let's see, yeah, these are all, so far, people that came from outside of the country. They were allowed in by Sleepy Joe Biden, Crooked Joe Biden, whichever you like. You can call him whatever you like. They're both right. He's sleepy and he's crooked. He was the worst president we've ever had. And we've had some bad ones, too. I can tell you, all you have to do is look at trade.
Oh my God.
You're not getting bored with this, right? I hope you don't.
A lot of bad dudes.
These are people that you have to see.
Look at the pack of brains he has.
Strong arm rape, aggravated assault with a weapon, and many other crimes. Gang member, known as one of the toughest people around.
Looks like a Venezuelan.
These are tough people. So this is what the people are trying to protect, because all ICE wants to do is get them out of our country, bring them to prisons and jails and mental institutions from where they came. That's all they want to do. They're patriots, and they have to be abused by guys like Don Lemon, who's a loser, lightweight. I saw him the way he walked in that church. It was terrible. I have such respect for that pastor. He was so calm. He was so nice. He was just accosted. What they did in that church was horrible yesterday. Look at it here. 24 convictions. 24 times convicted.
24.
They're not charges. These are convictions.
24
so
convictions.
He comes from outside the country. Do you think he's going to be good here? Convicted 24 times. He's going to be good here, right? It doesn't work that way. He's a man murderer. One of many. One of many. All they want to do is get him out. They want to take him out of our country. And we're met with paid agitators and insurrectionists, troublemakers. They're paid. You know, when the woman was shot, and I felt terribly about that. And I understand both sides of it. But when she was shot, there was another woman that was screaming shame. Shame, 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 right? You saw it. So loud. It was like a professional opera singer. She was so loud and so professional. She wasn't a woman that was hurt, like, oh, my heart's injured. She was a professional. She's shame, shame. She's screaming, shame, shame. I said, that's not a normal person. That's a professional. These are professional agitators and professional people that want to see our country do badly. But that's not happening because we have the hottest country anywhere in the world, despite this stuff. Look at this. All top of the line criminals. They're not going to be good. They're not going to be well behaved here. I could do thousands. We had over 3,000 in the last fairly short while. Just in Minnesota. What's the number, Carol? 10,000.
10,000 criminals arrested in Minnesota.
What the fuck?
10,000 criminals.
10,000.
And these are serious criminals. Now, how can a place with 10,000 criminals, how can you have a state? And yet they're fighting us. Yeah, I like that guy. He keeps nodding to me. You agree with me, I guess. I like him. I don't know who he is, but I like him. He keeps nodding. He says, you're right. He's obviously a little on the right side, maybe. Look. These are rough ones. So this, we just took this off a stack. We have many stacks like this. Like, I could go 30 times what I'm showing you now. Relations with Hezbollah, that's nice.
Hezbollah as well.
Why do we allow them in our country? I'm just looking at these charges. It's just pretty incredible. Many murderers, many murderers. People that murdered.
Those are the people
So
that
what-
Democrats
what
are defending.
ICE does, and Border Patrol is incredible, too. I mean, they're Paul Perez and that group is incredible. Mostly Hispanic, by the way. They're like 60% Hispanic. You know, they talk about Hispanic. They're mostly Hispanic, right? And they're unbelievable people. And then they say, oh, we discriminate against. I love Hispanic. They are unbelievable. Entrepreneurial. They have everything. I did great. I did the highest. Nobody ever got numbers like I got from the standpoint of being a Republican. But even if you look at Texas, I won the entire border along Texas, between Texas and Mexico. It never happened before. Nobody's ever done that before. I did it. As a Republican, I did it. I love the Hispanic. And they accuse us of all sorts of things. 60% of the people we're talking about, they're the best people we have, and they're Hispanic. The Border Patrol is largely Hispanic. ICE is largely Hispanic. They're unbelievable people. I don't know how they can take the abuse. They're taking rough people like this, like all of them. We have 10,000 at least. I could have done 10,000 of them. You're lucky I only did like 100. And this isn't even the worst of the group. They have murderers. They have some people we can't use their picture for legal reasons, but they're up for murder in their own country. And we jeopardize their case. When we send them back and we coordinate with other countries. A tremendous amount of work. All allowed in here by an open border policy of the worst president in the history of our country. A man that didn't win the election, by the way. It was a rigged election. Everybody knows that now. And by the way, numbers are coming out that show it even more plainly. We caught him. So I just want you to know that it's a terrible thing. Here's the book on accomplishments. And this is something, ooh, I'm glad my finger wasn't in that sucker. That could have done some damage, but you know what? I wouldn't have shown the pain. I would have gone back. Boy, did you hear that? That was nasty. But I would not have shown the pain. I would have acted like nothing happened as my finger fell off. That was a nasty, I think somebody did that. It was him. It was my man. How were you? You didn't do it. I know you did. I know you didn't. So, but here's the book. These are all things we have. I'm going to read a few of the samples, but look at this. These are all, each line is something that we did. Nobody did that before. And it's big stuff, too. Look, we have the hottest country in the world. So, I will read you a few. We ended Biden's stagflation. We were in stagflation. That's a disaster. That's far worse than inflation. As you know, he had the biggest inflation in the history of our country. They say 48 years. Pick your choice. But they had the biggest inflation in the history of our country. We have it right down to a normal number now. We're going to get it even a little bit lower. Created super high. What we've done with growth is incredible. We created super high economic growth, and America is booming. It's booming. There are thousands of businesses right now that are being built. Many of the biggest factories in the world are being built right in our country. They're not going to other countries. They're leaving other countries. Fourth quarter GDP is on track to pass perhaps much more than 5% growth, and that's despite the fact that we had a Democrat shutdown. They shut down our country, and we had 5%. Nobody's in this room has ever heard about 5%. I think it could be 20% if we do it right. If we don't, every time we have good numbers, they raise interest rates. You shouldn't do it. In the old days, if you had good numbers, they'd lower interest rates, or they wouldn't do anything. Here, they try and kill it. They always try and kill success. Over the last 20, 25 years, that's the way. In the old days, if you had good numbers, the market would go through the roof. Today, if you have good numbers, the market goes down. But by the way, we've had the best stock market in history, the best 401ks in history, and we inherited a mess. The numbers that we inherited were way up, and now we brought them, almost all of them, way down. We brought them way down. I mean, I'm not getting... maybe I have the bad public relations people, but we're not getting it across. We inherited high numbers and we brought them way down. And look at gasoline. They have places in the country now, $1.99 a gallon. $1.99, $2.30, $2.50.
$1.99.
I guess the average now they're saying is 231. I mean, he was at $4.50 and $5 for periods of time. And he went back to the Trump formula, but he didn't do it properly, and he really went back to parts of it because you would have had $8 gasoline if they didn't. But he didn't do it properly. He had people that didn't know what they were doing. Core inflation for the last 3 months is 1.6%. 1.6. Their core inflation was so high that nobody could even calculate it. Under Biden, real incomes declined $3,000. Think of that, $3,000. That's a year. In 12 months, Trump real incomes went up by $2,000 and $3,000 and even in some cases $5,000. It's a tremendous difference. Stock market has set 52 all-time record highs during the course of the 11 months, because this was done on 11 months. Now we are actually officially 12 months as of today. 52 all-time record highs. That means 401ks did great. I have people see me all the time, policemen that guard us really well, and got to know them a little bit. And they said, "Sir, you're making me look so good. My 401k is through the roof. My wife thinks I'm the greatest genius, that I'm a financial genius, like Warren Buffett." He told me that. He said, I think they have better returns than Warren Buffett right now. But he said, all my life my wife has been criticizing me for not being smart financially. Now all of a sudden she loves me more. But we added $9 trillion in value to retirement accounts, saving many people. I mean, they were going out of business. Think of it. We added $9 trillion of value to retirement accounts, savings accounts, and 401ks. That's during the course of 12 months. And I think it's probably 11 months because I don't think they have it for the 12. They have it for the 11. Added $9 trillion of value. Lifted more than 1.2 million Americans off food stamps in 1 year. They would have had another 1.2 million. We would have had, welfare would have gone up. And instead of investing $18 trillion in our country, now it's probably more than that, but $18 trillion and having thousands of plants being built all over the country, you would have had thousands of plants closing all over the country, and you would have had disinvestment, and you would have had welfare going way up. You know, if you look at SNAP, take a look at SNAP, what happened with that? It was at $7 billion, and it came out to over $51 billion. Nobody has ever seen anything like it. The past administration, they had no clue. Or they were really bad, but they basically had no clue. But they did have a concept. I mean, they're still trying to sell the idea of men playing in women's sports. You saw that in the Supreme Court. I mean, some of those justices were fighting for them, too. They were fighting for them. But you saw that just the other day in the Supreme Court. Men playing in women's sport doesn't work. Secured a record-breaking $18 trillion in commitments for new investments. Apple, NVIDIA, SoftBank, Oracle, TSMC, Johnson & Johnson, Eli Lilly and Company, Micron, AstraZeneca, General Motors, Hyundai, Ford, Honda, GE Aerospace, many, many others. I left a Ford plant a week ago in Michigan that they were going to close 2 years ago, and now they just announced that they're going 24 hours around the clock making cars. Tariffs did it. I don't know what the Supreme Court's going to do. I think to me it reads so plainly. It couldn't be plainer. You're allowed to do a license. Tariff is probably less severe than what a license could be, but think of it. You're allowed to do a license, and then they have a clause at the end, something to the effect, or what is necessary, something to that effect. And what is necessary with tariffs. I don't know where there's a case even there, but we've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars, and if we lose that case, it's possible we're going to have to do the best we can in paying it back. I don't know how that's going to be done very easily without hurting a lot of people. But we're waiting for that case anxiously, and we have tremendous national security because of tariffs and tremendous income. You know, we have, and by the way, no inflation. So everyone said, oh, tariffs will cause inflation. We have no inflation. We have very little inflation. Biden had inflation and he didn't do tariffs. We had a huge problem. We have a 62% reduction in our trade deficit. So if you had a 1% reduction, a normal president would have a 1%, 2% reduction. Everybody would be high-fiving. Had a 62% reduction. Next year we won't have a trade deficit. We secured most favored nations agreements to slash drug prices by as much. And to me, I think this might be the biggest thing of all. We get zero talk about it. The New York Times had a story way in the back of the paper, a little story about it. I think it's the biggest thing there is. When you talk about health care, drug prices will go down more than ever before for any country, because we were priced at such a level that we were subsidizing the entire world, big place in the world. We were paying 10, 12, 13 times more than other countries. 13 times more, not 13%, 13 times more. A pill that was selling in London for $10 would sell in New York for $130. It's 13 times.
Yeah, literally, Spain for the
More
whole
than
world.
that even. But we secured most favored nations agreements to slash drug prices by as much as 300, 400, 500, and even 600%, including with Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Eli Lilly, Nova Nordisk, Gilead Sciences, EMD, Serenio, and many others. If you look at some of the prices that are coming down, where a price would come down $1,300 coming down to $87. Think of it. So something that was costing $1,300 is now costing $87. And the fake news doesn't want to write about it. That's why I do this. I don't like to do this, to be honest with you. But I do it because got to get the word out. We signed one big, beautiful bill. I call it the Great Big Beautiful Bill, delivering the largest tax cuts in history. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. We made interest on car loans tax deductible for U.S.-built automobiles only. So if you buy an automobile built in the United States, we're not doing it for Germany and Canada and different places. We're doing it only if it's built here. We want them to be built here. A lot of the Canadian auto plants are closing and they're moving into the United States. Same thing with Mexico, same thing with Germany, and same thing with Japan and other countries. They're moving into the United States because of tariffs. Because they don't want to pay the tariffs. It's too much. They can't pay the tariffs. So they're coming here. Nothing different than what other smart countries did. But it works better for us. Under my leadership, it's not done properly, but it's done properly. We have, again, more plants being built than at any time in the history of our country. Passed the largest spending cuts in American history, and that was true in my first. We had a tremendous first term also. We rebuilt our military. We had one of the best. We had the best economy in the history of our country, but we're blowing it away now. When this stuff starts opening up, you're not going to see anything like it probably ever again. We slashed the federal budget deficit by 27% in a single year. Think of that, 27. You could do it 2%, 1%, 0.5%, 27%. And that's with all of the things we have to do, all of the people we have to put on the payroll to get rid of people that are murderers. Again, when you see people in Minnesota that are murderers, these people are fighting to keep them there. And I say to Christie and to Tom Homan, the great people, they're working so hard. Look at the border. The border is now secure. First time, Biden said you couldn't do it. You need legislation. I had no legislation. I said close the border.
You can just
Within
do
1
things.
month, we had almost nobody coming in. Now for the last 8 months, nobody came into our country illegally. And I find that hard to believe because you'd think somebody, because it used to be millions of people just poured into our country. And the people that do that are Democrat sort of aligned. So, they're not doing me any favors. We had nobody come in. We have a very strong border. We have very few people coming up. They're not going to make the trek because they know they probably won't be coming in. So it's not as hard as you think. But I didn't have to go back. Remember they said We need legislation to close the border. They had millions of people coming in a month. We have nobody coming in, and we're getting the murderers out. Murderers, people from prisons and jails. Many countries opened up their prisons and dropped them into the United States. Those are the people we're getting out. And we have a lot of heart. And I said, you got to lighten up on this. We have a lot of heart for people. They came in illegally, but they're good people, and they're working now on farms, and they're working in luncheonettes and hotels and all. And we're looking to get the criminals out right now, the criminals. And I think it's very important. I mean, every once in a while you see a story, we take somebody. He should be out because they came in illegally. So in theory, they should be. But we're focused on the murderers, the drug dealers, the mentally insane. We have a lot of mentally insane killers. I mean, you can't even talk to them. It'd be nice if you could have a little reason, but you can't even reason. These are seriously ill people. You have a couple of countries where they were loaded up. Their mental institutions and insane asylums were loaded to the gills. They couldn't get. They're empty now. But they're filling up because we're bringing them all back. We know where they came from. And every country accepts them. You know, under Biden, they wouldn't take. They had so little respect that they'd bring them there, and they wouldn't take them. They said, get the hell out of here. They would be bringing a plane in to land in a country, and they'd put 5 planes on the runway so you couldn't land the plane. So they'd come back with the people that they were bringing back. They don't do that with me. They do that with me, they have problems. They don't do it. They accept them back.
You know how
They're
Trump
not
deals
happy
with
about it, but
problems.
They accept them back. Cut a record number of regulations. I promised to eliminate 10 old regulations for every one new regulation. Instead, we cut 129 old regulations for each one added. Think of that. I wanted to do 10. In my first 4 years, I did. When we put on a new regulation, you had to cut 8. This year, I said you have to cut 10. Instead, we cut 129. So every time, so far, can't remain like that, I don't imagine. I hope I can, because we have so much wasted regulation, stupid regulations. Regulations where they go by California, which is a disaster state, with a governor that truly is doing a bad job. He's killing that state. If he ever ran the country, this country would be Venezuela very quickly.
Venezuela
Using
mentioned.
tariffs slash the U.S. trade deficit by an incredible 77%. The trade deficit is down, and that doesn't include the last month where we had our best month. We slashed the trade deficit by an incredible 77% in 1 year with no inflation, something that everyone said could not be done. So we had essentially no inflation. In fact, the last month we had almost no inflation. But we slashed the trade deficit by 77%. If you slashed it by 1%, that was good. Again, we did that with tariffs and intelligence. We did that with November 5th, great election. We secured historic trade deals to reduce barriers on U.S. exports with countries covering 40% of all U.S. trade. Think of that. American exports are up by more than $150 billion this year. People said, oh, we're not exporting. All we do is buy. If you keep buying, you're not going to have a country for very long. So we increased exports by more than $150 billion. Investment in American factories is up 41%. That's a record. Nobody goes 41% up. You go 2% up, 1% up. You go down by 3%. If Kamala got elected, the 41% up would be 41% down. We removed over 270,000 bureaucrats from the federal payroll. That's another thing. So we have, we announce our unemployment numbers, call it unemployment or employment. And they were very good, but we could make them great. But we've slashed tremendous numbers of people off the federal payroll. Because ultimately, if you're on the federal payroll, I mean, we have jobs where they had 10 people for every job. So we cut. Now, if you want to see some good numbers, I'll hire 1 million people. We cut millions of people off the federal payroll. I don't like doing that, but the good news, I don't feel badly because they're getting private sector jobs, and they're getting sometimes twice as much money, 3 times as much money. They're getting factory jobs. They're getting much better jobs and much higher pay. But all I have to do is say, like, what the Democrats do all the time. They hire 1 million people, and then they hire another million. They load it up, and it says, oh, they only have a 3% unemployment rate. It's a fake rate. So with us, we're proud of the fact that we cut so many because, again, I don't want to cut people. But when you cut them and they go out and get a better job, I like to cut them. And sometimes they have to be forced to do that because, it's like they want to stay where they are. They don't know. And then all of a sudden they end up, we have many cases, Caroline, where people were devastated. They hated Trump. I got caught from my very boring federal job where they had, again, sometimes 10 people to do one job. And they were very upset. And now they ended up with a job where they get paid 3 times more money. They're ending up buying houses. It's like crazy. So they went from not liking me to liking me a lot because it's hard to get. We need people. We need people. It's one of the reasons. I mean, when you have good people in the farm or good people in hotels and everything else, we want to work with them as much as we can. Under Biden, 1 out of 4 jobs added was a government job. Think of that. So 25% of the jobs added. That's when you know that, that's 25% of jobs aren't real jobs. But again, I could do that. I could add 2 million jobs right now, would have an unemployed. I could say just hire some more people. I do the opposite.
Thanks,
I say
Ricky.
get rid of everybody that's unnecessary because that's the way you make America great again. When you have, all these jobs where people are sitting around doing nothing and they get a lot of money by the government, it's no good. But that's what the Democrats do. They show, we were at 4%
Thank you, advanced
That's a good
conspiracy
number.
theory.
But they just add jobs, or they wouldn't cut. They would never cut jobs. Under Trump, 100% of all new jobs created have been in the private sector. Think of that. Not 1% has gone to federal. So under Biden, 1 out of 4 was a government job. Under Trump, 100% of the new jobs created, 100% came from the private sector. That's how you make your country wealthy and strong and good. We inherited the worst border in history and turned it into the strongest border in history. Illegal crossings have plummeted to the lowest level ever recorded, down 99.999%. That means down 100%. 99.99. Now, I want to find out who that one person is. For 8 months in a row, 0, and these are government numbers, these are not my numbers. For 8 months in a row, 0 illegal aliens were admitted to our country. 0. Nobody came in, unless they came in legally. We have a big process for having people come in legally, by the way. A lot of people are coming in legally. They have to prove they love our country. They have to prove that they're not going to need welfare. A lot of things they have to prove. For the first time in 50 years, we are now seeing reverse migration, where because we're getting all of these illegal people out. People that came in illegally, in many cases they're criminals, in many, many cases. Remember when they used to say that the people that come into our country as immigrants are very nice people, they're wonderful people, they don't commit crime. No, they make our criminals look like babies. They make our Hell's Angels look like the sweetest people on earth. The Hell's Angels are now considered a nice, high-quality person. I like the Hell's Angels. They voted for me. They protected me, actually, believe it or not. But they make our criminals look like babies. These are some of the most vicious people anywhere in the world. They came from the Congo. The prisons, I know the Congo because I ended the war with the Congo and Rwanda. Tough group, very tough group. They came from prisons in the Congo. Some of the toughest, meanest people you'll ever meet. Thank you very much. They allowed them to come into America. These are tough people. Before my election, 100% of net job creation was going to foreign migrants. Since my inauguration, 100% of the net jobs created have gone to American-born citizens. That's a big thing. In other words, we're now taking care of our people. 100% of net jobs created have gone to the American-born people. Before that, we didn't care. Designated Tren de Aragua, MS-13, and the Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, and we've hit them hard. You've seen what we've done on the water. We're
Democrats in
starting
shambles.
to do that on land. The land is much easier, actually.
Now, Democrats are the
Water
best
is
fans of the
incredible.
trend that I
We did that
want.
on the water so that when you do it on the land, they don't go to the water. Nobody's going into the boat business right now, I can tell you. 97% down drugs coming in by water. Think of it, 97%. Nobody ever heard of that before. They heard 2%, 1%. It went up 2%. 97, and we're looking for the 3%. Who the hell are the 3%? They're crazy. But we've taken out almost 100% of the drugs coming in by water. Now we're going to be very shortly starting drugs coming in by land. We know exactly where they're coming from. Remove tens of thousands of illegal alien gang members, drug dealers, murderers, child predators, human traffickers, fraudsters, savage criminals, and others. We removed them from our country. They're out. They're gone. In some cases, they're so dangerous that we put them in jail because we don't want to give them to their country. Their country doesn't do anything, and they end up coming back. We have some that they're so bad that we don't want to really release them. We want to put them in a jail where we know they're properly ensconced. Think of that. Remove tens of thousands of illegal alien gang members, drug dealers, murderers, child predators, human traffickers, fraudsters, and savage criminals. Why wouldn't you want them removed? The reason is because these are insurrectionists that are doing this work. And, you know, they're going to make mistakes sometimes. ICE is going to be too rough with somebody, or, you know, they're dealing with rough people. They're going to make a mistake sometimes. It can happen. We feel terribly. I felt horribly when I was told that the young woman who was had the tragedy. It's a tragedy. It's a horrible thing. Everybody would say, ICE would say the same thing. But when I learned her parents and her father in particular I hope he still is, but I don't know, was a tremendous Trump fan. He was all for Trump, loved Trump. And, you know, it's terrible. I was told that by a lot of people. They said, oh, he loves you. He was I hope he still feels that way. I don't know. It's a hard situation. But her father was a tremendous, and parents were tremendous Trump fans. It's so sad. It just happens. It's terrible. Halted all refugee admissions to the United States, including from Somalia, which is a terrible, terrible place, another dangerous place. And we also stopped the pirates because they get the same treatment as the drug boats. So when Somalia, the Somalians, you know what they're good at? That's about the only thing they're good at is they're good at pirating ships at sea, big ships. So you have a huge oil tanker with millions of gallons, millions of barrels of oil. And if it gets hit by a big weapon, the whole thing blows up. And they don't want to fight, because if they do, they're told by their insurance companies, do not hand over the ship. And they're not allowed to have any guns on the ship. They're literally, you have these massive ships being taken over by a Somalian small boat with a big weapon. Because if they hit the side of the ship can blow up. I mean, you talk about a blow up. Bad. We've seen some bad things happen. And the insurance companies, some of these ships cost more than $1 billion to build. And the insurance companies say, look, we'd rather give them money than take a chance on $1 billion insurance policy. But they don't have to worry about it, because we hit them the same way we hit the people with the drugs in their boat. They don't know what the hell happened. But all of a sudden, there are no pirates at sea. Do you notice? We haven't had a boat taken in a little while. Came out of Somalia, really corrupt place. It's not a country. They don't have government. They don't have anything. I always hate to see this. Ilhan Omar, she comes from Somalia, a backward country, probably the worst country. They say it's the worst country in the world, if it's a country. I don't even think it's a country. There's no organization, no anything. They don't have police. They don't have military. They don't have anything. They just have people running around killing each other and trying to pirate ships. But she'll come here. Comes, and then she wants to tell us how to run our country. The Constitution says that I am entitled to this. I can't stand her. Terminated all taxpayer-funded benefits for illegal aliens and kicked 275,000 illegals off of Social Security. They were illegally getting Social Security. 275,000 people. I'm telling you, it's not that this is pleasurable, but if I were an elected president, this country was going to be destroyed quickly, very quickly. I think within a year, if you had Kamala or a Joe type. I mean, Joe was a disaster, but if you had Kamala, he was the replacement. I was up by like 25 points on Joe, and they said, hey, let's get somebody else. This never happened. Well, I had so many firsts. You're leading somebody by a lot, and they say, oh, let's take him out, let's put somebody. That's like I said to Dana White the other night. I said, you know, Dana, it's like you have a fighter, two fighters, one guy is winning by a lot. And they say, oh, let's take this guy out, let's put a new fighter in the ring with him. That's what happened to me. I was doing great with Biden. The whole campaign was against Biden. All the money was spent against Biden, and all of a sudden I got Kamala. Everyone said, who the hell is she? But that didn't work out too well for them, but never happened before. We are about lots of firsts. Designated English as the official language of the United States of America. We did that very powerfully. And while we're at it, we also took the Gulf of Mexico, and now it's the Gulf of America. Because we have 92% of the shoreline. It always bothered me. I'd say, you know, we have most of the shoreline. Mexico has a small percentage, talks about 8%. We have 92%. And I said, why is it the Gulf of Mexico? It should be the Gulf of America. I was going to call it the Gulf of Trump, but I thought that I would be killed if I did that. I wanted to do it. I wanted to. My people work so hard. Sir, I don't think it'll look too good. I'm telling you, it's a good thing. And it'll be hotter than ever, I said. No, but I decided not to do that. I'm joking, you know, when I say that. I was not going to call it the Gulf of Trump. Because tomorrow it'll be, Trump wanted to call it the Gulf of Trump, but he was rebuffed by his people. My people don't rebuff me too much. The Gulf of Trump, that does have a good ring, though. Maybe we could do that. It's not too late. No, we have the Gulf of America now. It's great. Our country is proud for the attack on Venezuela, the attack on the Iran nuclear capability, wiped it out. I mean, first administration, Soleimani, the father of the roadside bomb, al-Baghdadi, the father of ISIS, who was rebuilding ISIS. We wiped them out. Done a great job. Signed an order that will end birthright citizenship for children of illegal migrants. You know, that case is in court right now. That case was meant for the children of slaves. All you have to do is look at the years. Look at the years where the cases were filed and where the decisions were made. They were right at the end of the Civil War. They're trying to say that, you know, in China's making a big business out of that. They come to the country, they have a child, the American citizen, they get all the benefits. It had nothing to do with that. That was for the children of slaves. And I hope the Supreme Court so rules. Designated fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. It is. We lost, I believe, 300,000 people this year. 300,000 people. That's like filling up one of those big football stadiums 5 times. It's not even believable. I mean, you could be in a war and you wouldn't lose that many people. So we designated fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction. Conducted numerous successful military strikes against narco-terrorists operating in our hemisphere, including the water strikes. Drugs brought in by ocean. So I told you that we're down by, I mean, close to 100%. It's hard to get somebody to pilot those boats. Very hard. They have to be people that don't watch television, don't read the news. And we just blew up their facility. They had a docking facility where the drugs were stored. And now we have a great relationship with Venezuela. We're getting along fantastically with the leadership in Venezuela, so we wouldn't have to do that. This was done before the attack. But we captured and brought to justice the outlaw dictator of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, who, through drugs, killed millions of people in our country. Tremendous drug dealer. Also sent millions of people into our country, including Tren de Aragua, the worst gang. They say it's the worst gang in the world. They took over parts of Colorado. They just take the apartment building. They just took it away. Just took it away like we're here. They cut the hand off one man because he called the police. Who called the police? I did. You took my apartment from me. Boom, no hand. This is what they sent us. Restoring law and order, new category. D.C. and Memphis, federal task forces deployed massive numbers of federal law enforcement officers and National Guard to restore safety. Crime down in D.C. is almost down to nothing. D.C. was a very, very dangerous place, and I think you probably know better than I do. I have a lot of people in the media thanked me for that, but some of them found it hard to thank me. But, you know, D.C. is now, look how beautiful. D.C. is now, you can walk right from here to a restaurant, right through the center of town. You can be with your child, with your loved one, with your lover. Your lover's not going to be killed anymore, so you can act like a real lover. But you can walk right through the middle of the town, and D.C. is beautiful again, too, you know. You notice we took all the fences down, almost all, the rest are coming down. We got the graffiti all off. National Guard's been amazing. You know, we didn't tell them to do that. That's not their job description. But they were picking up garbage and everything. They were great. And I don't know, to me, a town, it looks better when you have military people. These are big, strong guys, are bad guys. Look at them and they say, we're not going to mess around. But what they don't know is that we took over 2,000 people out, permanently out of D.C. These were career criminals. But I feel much better seeing those people there. I went in a couple of times and had dinner in D.C. I walked right down the middle of the street. I felt very safe. A year ago, I couldn't have done that. I would have been crazy to have done that. Secret Service wouldn't let me do it. They weren't thrilled anyway, I will tell you. It wasn't like they were thrilled, but we did it, and it was great. But D.C. is a great thing. We have virtually no crime in D.C. anymore. And before we did this move, it was we could do the same thing with Chicago. You know, we brought Chicago down 25%, even though we just had a minimal crew there. We brought Wisconsin down. We brought Minnesota down, way down, even though everything's a fight, you know, because they want to keep those people that are lying on the floor. They want to keep those people in Minnesota, but they really don't. I don't think the real people of Minnesota, it's a very corrupt place, and the elections are totally corrupt. I feel I won it all 3 times. Nobody's won that state since Richard Nixon. It's a rigged state. And the Somalians vote as one group, even if they're not citizens, and they vote as one group, and, you know, you get 600,000 votes against you. They all ought to get the hell out of here. They're bad for our country. Nationwide achieved the largest reduction in violent crime on record. So this just came out. Nationwide, over the last 11 months, achieved the largest reduction in violent crime on record, including the largest one-year drop in murders ever recorded. Almost 2,000 lives were saved. That's despite the fact that we took in criminals under the leadership of the Democrats and Joe Biden. More motor vehicle theft is down by 100,000 vehicles nationwide. That's another. Nationwide, the motor vehicle theft was out of control, and now it's very much in control. It was down by more than 100,000 vehicles to a record low. Began the process of eliminating cashless bail policies across the nation. You got to get rid of your sanctuary cities, and I hope our people know that we're not going to pay sanctuary cities. We're not going to pay them anymore. They are sanctuary for criminals. They hold criminals. We're not going to pay. They can sue us, and maybe they'll win, but we're not giving money to sanctuary cities anymore as of the beginning of the month. We began the process of eliminating the cashless bail. Well, cashless bail is where it all started. It's a disaster. and then other places. I don't know if it started in New York. I remember it starting in New York. So if somebody comes in, murders somebody, and they let him out, no bail, no nothing. Basically, cashless bail means you just get the hell out. And they go outside. We have one case where a guy murders somebody, gets released, and goes out and murders somebody. 2 people in one day. No, we got to get rid of cashless bail. They got to pay, got to have bail. There's a reason for bail. Long tested. Signed an executive order to bring back mental institutions and insane asylums. We're going to have to bring them back. Hate to build those suckers, but you got to get the people off the streets. You know, we used to have, when I was growing up, we had in my area in Queens, I grew up in Queens, we had a place called Creedmoor. Creedmoor, did anybody know that? Creedmoor. It was a big, I said, Mom, why are those bars on the building? I used to play Little League baseball there, at a place called Cunningham Park. It was quite the baseball player, you wouldn't believe. But I said to my mother, Mom, she would be there, always there for me. She said, son, you could be a professional baseball player. I said, thanks, Mom. I said, why are those bars on the windows? Big building, big, powerful building. It loomed over the park, actually. She said, well, people that are very sick are in that building. I said, boy, I used to always look at that building and I'd see this big building, big, tall building. It loomed over the park. It was sort of, now that I think, it was a pretty unfriendly sight. But I'll never forget, I don't know if it's still there, because they got rid of most of them, you know, the Democrats in New York, they took them down, and the people live on the streets now. That's why you have a lot of the people in California and other places, they live in the streets. They took the mental institutions down. They're expensive. But I'd say, why does that building have those bars? Boy, it wasn't normal. You know, you're used to looking at like a window. But this one, you look at it, all this steel, vicious steel, tiny windows, bars all over the place. Nobody was getting out. It's called a mental institution. That was an insane asylum. Designated Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization, and many others. It is. America is respected again on the world stage. That's another topic. Obliterated Iran's nuclear enrichment capability, and Operation Midnight Hammer was one of the most successful anyone's ever seen. CNN fake news. I don't know where they are. CNN. Anybody from CNN here? Fake news. Nobody wants to raise their hand anymore. They used to, oh, here. Now if you're with CNN, you don't raise your hand. But they said, well, maybe it wasn't that successful, which I really was angry because these pilots took their life in their hands. 2 o'clock in the morning with no moon, dead dark, guns shooting at them. They went in with those beautiful B-2s, and every single bomb went down an air shaft and obliterated it. And CNN came out and said, well, maybe it wasn't, by a scam writer who wrote, you know, fake stories, a lot of fake stories on other topics, right? Because when we did it, we said, that's a terrible thing. You know, the pilots came back and they said, we hit everything. They did a great job. Then on top of that, we launched from a submarine about 30 Tomahawks on top of everything else. The place was obliterated. CNN said, well, maybe it wasn't that bad. Turned out it was worse than it was. You know who could tell you that? The Iranians would tell you that. Because if they do anything, they're going to have to start a brand new place. But they did an amazing job. That was like what we did with Venezuela. I mean, nobody's ever seen a military operation like that. Ended 8 unendable wars in 10 months. These were unendable wars. Cambodia and Thailand fighting for years. Kosovo and Serbia. The Congo and Rwanda. Pakistan and India, they were really going at it. 8 planes shot down. They were going to go nuclear, in my opinion. The Prime Minister of Pakistan was here, and he said President Trump saved 10 million people and maybe much more than that. They're both nuclear countries. Israel and Iran. Egypt and Ethiopia were going to fight over a dam, and I got them to stop. I still got to work it out, because they put a dam up in Ethiopia that stops the flow from a little river called the Nile. I always think of the Nile being in Egypt, you know, beautiful Nile with the pyramids, but They put a dam up. You know who paid for the dam? The United States of America. It's the biggest dam, I think, in the world. They put a dam up. I said, how did you let that happen? Why would we have done that? We financed it. This country would, I don't know. Maybe it was a Republican president, but I don't think it was. I think it was a Democrat. But what a terrible thing. So Egypt basically is, they don't have enough water in the Nile. And they use that for a lot of things, including entertainment and travel and tourism and everything. I mean, I don't know. They got a big dam. I got to work that one out now, too. Armenia and Azerbaijan, President Putin told me, I cannot believe you settled that war. I've been trying to settle that war for 10 years. Armenia and Azerbaijan, they were fighting it for many, many years. And I ended up getting the heads of both countries in my office. The beautiful Oval Office, much more beautiful now than it ever was. And one sat on one side, one sat on the other. He said, I've been the head of Azerbaijan for 22 years, and for 22 years I've been killing his people. And the other gentleman, and both very good guys, said, I've been here for 7 years, and for 7 years I've been killing his people. And they started over there, and within an hour they were next to each other, and by the time we ended, they were hugging each other, and it's been a great peace, Should have gotten the Nobel Prize for each war, but I don't say that. I saved millions and millions of people. And don't let anyone tell you that Norway doesn't control the shots, okay? It's in Norway. Norway controls the shots. They'll say, we have nothing to do with it. It's a joke. They've lost such prestige. That's why I have such respect for Maria doing what she did. She said, I don't deserve the Nobel Prize. He does. When she got it, they said, wow, that's amazing. I thought President Trump would get it. President Trump deserves it. He ended up 8 wars. How nice, right? It's a good woman. Got all 20 living hostages returned to their families, and the remains, they all came out. We got the 20 living hostages. We got the 28 hostages. They have 1 left that we think we know where it is. Amazing. Looked like we weren't going to get anywhere near that. Now they've gotten almost. And more importantly, we got many more, hundreds. We got them all. If we didn't do it, you wouldn't have had, most of those people would have been dead. I don't know if that's covered properly, but the 20 is great. They were the last ones. I always said the last 20 are going to be hard, but we got them. We got the last 20, and we got close to 28 of the bodies of the dead. And to those parents, that was just as important as getting their son back alive. They were almost even more intent on they knew their son was dead. They wanted to get the body. I got him back. We just created the Board of Peace, which I think is going to be amazing. I wish the United Nations could do more. I wish we didn't need a Board of Peace, but the United Nations, and with all the wars I settled, the United Nations never helped me on one war. I mean, I guess I'm not blaming them. I didn't call them to help, but I got, the presidents and prime ministers together. We knocked heads. We got along, and they liked me. I liked them. Every single one of them nominated me for a Nobel Prize. Every one of the wars, among many other people, nominated me for a Nobel Prize. But Putin told me, I cannot believe you got this war settled. I've worked on it for 10 years because it's his territory. Rescued 83 American hostages and citizens detained from abroad without paying a lot of money. Paid no money. Apprehended terrorists responsible for the Abbey Gate bombing that claimed the lives of 13 U.S. service members in Afghanistan, the lowest point in the history of our country. That was a Biden disaster. I was getting out, but I was getting out with dignity and strength. We were the boss. Oh, we were the boss. They wouldn't do a thing against us. And this very stupid person got in, and what a shame. They should have left from Bagram, which is the big military base, which has hundreds of acres around it. Should have left from Bagram. Terminated visas of Hamas sympathizers and deported pro-jihad foreign nationals. Got NATO members to agree to raise defense spending to 5% of GDP from 2%, and they pay the 5%, and they didn't pay the 2%. And by the way, I did more for NATO than any other person alive or dead. Nobody's done for NATO. And I think for the most part, they'll tell you that. I think you could ask the Secretary General about that, but he said it a lot. I've done more for NATO than anybody, and I see all this stuff, but NATO has to treat us fairly, too. The big fear I have with NATO is we spend tremendous amounts of money with NATO, and I know we'll come to their rescue, but I just really do question whether or not they'll come to ours. You know, I'm just asking. Just saying, right? You remember during the debate? Just saying. Signed $1 trillion investment in U.S. military. And next year, we hopefully will go to a $1.5 trillion. We're building battleships that are 100 times more powerful than the battleships of World War II, which are the big, beautiful, those big, beautiful things with the guns. I said, what about bringing them out of dry dock? They said, sir, what we're building will blow them away. Think of it. These ships are 100 times more powerful than the battleships that you see on Victory at Sea. Do you ever see Victory at Sea? What a great thing that is to watch. Renamed the Department of Defense into the Department of War, which everyone loves, by the way. Signed landmark critical minerals deals with Australia, Malaysia, Thailand, Ukraine, Japan, and many others. We're going to have so much rare earth. It's actually not that rare. Getting it processed is rare, but there's a lot of rare earth. There's a lot of earth around, I can tell you. Withdrew from the corrupt World Health Organization where we were paying hundreds of millions of dollars a year. So we were paying $500 million a year, and China was paying $37 million a year. I said, why aren't we paying the same as China? They said, well, nobody asked. I said, China's got 1.4 billion people. We have 350 million, probably with all the illegals, you know. China probably knows more accurately. But we have much smaller in terms of the number of people. We have a much more powerful military, but we have much smaller. I rebuilt the military during my first term, by the way. And while they gave away a lot to Afghanistan, the Taliban, which was just horrible seeing them, every year seeing them do that military down some dirty street, is a disgrace. But while Biden gave a lot of it away, it's a tiny fraction compared to what we did. I rebuilt the military, and now we're continuing to build it. And bigger and better, we need it, peace through strength. But we withdrew from the corrupt World Health Organization. So I remember we were paying $500 million, they were paying 37 or 39 million. And I said, how come? So I withdrew, and they called, we'll give you the same deal that they had. I said, well, it should be less than that, because if they're at 37 and you have 3 times, 4 times the number of people, even maybe 5 times, I don't know. So it should be less, but I didn't want to chisel around. And I thought about it. So I could have taken 500 million to 37, and everybody knew it. I chose not to do it because it was actually very popular when I got out, because they were terrible. And so I chose not to take that deal. First thing Biden did is go back into it. You know what he paid? More than 500 million. So I actually called them. I said, you know, you can buy it for less. You can make a deal at 37. There's no reason to pay 500. They didn't care. They paid more than 500. Did you know that? They paid more than 500 million. I made a deal at 37. I could have had 37. They were public about it. We'll give you the same deal that China has for 37. And they paid 500. They paid $500 million. That's the way you ruin a country. And it's the same attitude that, you know, you have on everything else with these people. They were terrible. The anti-American UN Human Rights Council we ended. The UN Relief and Works Agency we ended. And the fake Paris Climate Accord, which was a ripoff of America, where we had to pay $1 trillion and they were paying nothing. China didn't kick in until 2035. We kicked in immediately. We were supposed to pay $1 trillion. Russia went to a standard of 1991, which was a dirtier standard. But we had to pay top dollar. So I terminated that. Another Rick. We ended the woke lunacy and restored common sense, abolished all discriminatory diversity, equity, and inclusion DEI policies throughout the federal government and the private sector. They're gone, everybody. They're gone. Terrible. terminated the Green New Scam, and ended the insane electric vehicle mandate. I love electric vehicles. That caused me a little problem with a man named Elon, but he understands, and he's a good guy. We get along, but I said, Elon, we can't have all electric cars. We just can't do it. I like the electric cars. I like his car. But in particular, I like his car. But we can't do that because some people don't want an electric car by 2030. And to build the power stations all over the country would have cost $4 trillion. $4 trillion, that's more than any country has. If you got China, the United States, and everyone, you couldn't do it. And it would have taken years, and yet they were supposed to be switching over electric vehicle mandate. Some people don't like electric cars. Some people want hybrids. Some people want regular gasoline-powered cars. We have more gasoline than anybody. And now with Venezuela, we have 62% of the market when you include Venezuela. So I ended the Green New Scam, and I ended the insane electric vehicle mandate. Now you can buy a gasoline-powered car, a hybrid, and you can buy a electric vehicle. I mean, if you think, if you want electric, you can buy it. Make a good deal on them right now because they made a lot of them. Permanently stopped Joe Biden's ridiculous CAFE standards. That's having to do with the environment, so ridiculous. Cancel the EPA's absurd, totally absurd, tailpipe emission standard, which made you spend hundreds of thousands, for hundreds of thousands of cars. The cost numbers were incredible that the consumer has to pay. Imposed 25% tariff on all foreign automobiles and 100% tariff on Chinese cars, which don't come into the country because of tariffs. Only because of tariffs. We didn't have tariffs, you wouldn't have any car. We have now more car factories being built in the United States than ever before because of tariffs. If they take those tariffs away, China will eat our lunch. They'll take all of our car business. Now, there's another way of doing it, but it's more cumbersome, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to scare you, but it's much more cumbersome, not as good for national security as this. We have a perfect system right now. We're making a fortune. We've never been stronger, and I hope the Supreme Court does the right thing for our country, because if they don't, it's such a problem. It's just so, it would be so sad. We're doing so well because of tariffs. And the people that are heading up the lawsuit, like there's a guy named Leonard Leo, who's bad guy, and people that are very China-oriented and foreign car-oriented and foreign business-oriented, but in particular China, they're suing to get rid of tariffs because they don't want tariffs, like Coke.
My God,
Coke
so this
has
is
businesses outside of the United States.
I'm gonna
and
say,
have-
wait a second. I'm gonna say that the Dawn is in autopilot at this point. I'm going to I'm going to say that this. I was expecting. Okay, something. This is something usual that Trump goes on autopilot talking about everything that he has, all his wins. Is something not surprising. But at some point, I had to say, okay, we are near 3 hours. I want to edit the videos that I got today. Maybe if something urgent comes up, well, I will go live again. But this is basically we had a good time. We had a nice time here, and you know that I was doing another thing. I was reviewing my timeline on X as well. But it's nice having this opportunity to be able to interact just with text, especially my voice is grateful for that. But it was interesting. Yes, again, it's something that we could remember. Maybe I would talk tomorrow about that, the importance of remembering all the things that you have done, because you have to remember that. We sometimes forget all the wins that we've had in life, and that can get us through the rough times. Maybe we can have that. I can talk about that tomorrow. I'm a bit spent. You know that still have the thing that can we increase the Donald speed? No, it would be not. won't be the same. It won't be the same. You know that it won't be the same. But again, remember that all the topics that I talk about, that we spoke about today, I will distribute on all my channels, and I will find a way to live stream to maybe TikTok and Instagram as well. I want to live stream to 10 platforms. Remember, best way to support my channel. Many ways. There's the link to my merch. There's my link to donations in the description. Like and subscribe, very easy. My book on Amazon. You can get it in physical. You can get it in Kindle. Body Language in 40 days. Go get it. You will get. I'm pretty sure that you will make good use of it. It's the fundamental of a body language. And again, has been amazing. I think that there's one super chat from Margie that I did not read. I really want to have a talk with Brooklyn. That's the mom in me. LOL. Yeah, we always think maybe we can save our children in some way, but this is not a child. This is not a child. This is a grown ass man. So let's see what that happens with Victoria and David. What they do. My body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. And until we meet another video, another live stream, remember the most important words: much love and bliss. Take care. Be safe. I love every single one of you. Bye-bye.